I know way more basketball, like in terms of wording than you do, and I'm just like, that's cool, but
Yeah, all
like,
this other stuff.
they're like, when people start pulling out like their professional cards on you, like I do this, so I definitely know more about this than you do.
Not
I'm
moved.
just like, guys, bro, like at the end of the day, man, if you don't know something, it's better just to say I don't know than to
It's
just
fine to
try to
say you
ramble,
don't
man.
know.
It's
Listen,
fine.
Yeah.
That's what people
listen.
have to realize. That's the word of the day, chat.
It's
It's
fine, chat.
fine to say I don't know. It's okay.
Yes.
If you don't
Just
know
like
something, you can say that, bro.
just like for mustard for the Black Friday event,
Oh,
it would have been fine if he said, I'm not going to be gifted in this debate. That would have been fine. Instead, Ron pressured him to put the money on the line on top of it.
Yep.
Right? I said, bet. I'm down for the $100. He said, bet. He said, I'm going to smoke gifted. It's not going to be close, all this and all that. And then, Lord and behold, chat, I win 3-0. He doesn't take a single round.
Sweet.
Like, hey, but what do I know? And I'm still waiting on that Cash App mustard. But I'm just
oh.
I'm just putting some things out there. You feel me? Like for a lot of people that came in thinking I wasn't gonna be on point with my stuff. I was. I handle business, but as a panelist that was there, shout out to everyone who was in charge of making Black Friday happen. And as a representative for our show, I feel like I really represented us well, and I stood on business. So wanted to lead with that. What's good, everybody?
Darren said it should have been me versus you.
Haley versus Gifted. Hell yeah.
I think he'd smoke me. You're a good debater, Gifted. I listened, and I mean, Mustard definitely, like, I agreed with some of his takes, but I'll say, hey, KB.
No, I'm joking.
Hey, no. Yeah, no glazing up here, but yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the cat debate was definitely my favorite. I was actually supposed to help host, but Thanksgiving, like, travels kind of snuck up on me. So, but I got to listen into a little bit of it, and that debate was really, really good. Like, I agreed with both points, but yeah, I would have definitely gone with you. You definitely killed it. So
a lot of fun.
Shout out to you, Gifted. You guys have a good last week. I know it's been kind of crazy. We'll get into the dubs. We'll get into everything over some of the few games we've seen. It's definitely been tough. But yeah, any headlines aside from that have kind of stuck out to you? Any games? I know the Bulls are kind of going through it right now. Chat, you guys can send super chats too if you have anything specific you want us to touch on. But I know Luka's kind of been flooding through the headlines over the last week. He's been killing it. The Bulls are on thin ice right now. But anything stuck out to you guys?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well,
I don't know if we can speak about that, but I think that was definitely the most shocking thing I've seen this week by far.
I mean, we can touch on it. Let's not mention anything of the actual details. But what do you guys think will come from that situation?
Ooh, that is a good one. There's about. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm
not gonna lie, bro. I don't even know what I'll be honest. I don't even know what I can say.
You can say what you. I think you could touch on what you expect from it, but just let's not talk about the actual situation.
Right. In terms of the allegations and all that stuff, I mean, we don't know exactly the finite things of what's gonna happen. Obviously, all we have to really go off of is what we've seen on Twitter. And I try to tell people Twitter is a very dangerous place. Yes. I remember for the things during the court case with Meg Thee Stallion, like the nasty things we were seeing, where Twitter was just a cesspool of misinformation. In terms of what I expect to happen, due process will happen, and we'll find out what actually happened, if this is real or if it's the internet getting the best of us yet again with the Oklahoma City situation.
I'm not gonna lie, while I do agree with Gifted that the internet is a crazy place and a lot of out of context things may occur, so you have to be very careful. Yeah, I try to do 100% agree. From everything that I've seen,
it don't look good.
And from what I've heard, it is so bad for number 3 that it's getting really bad. Like, we're talking videos, him with the said person, him claiming, I'm not even gonna, it's so bad. Like, it's just, everything is so conclusive that it's just like, I understand Twitter's a scary place and things can get brought out of context. Yeah. But there's some things that just don't require more context. And a lot of the things that were being posted really and truly don't. So it's not looking good for Gitster. I'll be be honest.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you too, Gifted. Like the due process and going through the right hoops is important. And the thing is, I just made a video on this actually. Like we all have feelings about it, and they're valid for sure. But at the same time, the NBA is going to, conduct their investigation. And sometimes, especially when it comes like what I mentioned in my video was the Eric Lewis allegations that came from Twitter. And while we say it's just the internet, I mean, what happened? Like, something actually came from it. So yeah, I think this could definitely hold some weight, and we'll just, we'll stay up to date. But we just can't really go too deep into a chat just because we don't know anything. We know what we see, but like aside from that, we just gotta wait. So
I forgot about Eric Lewis.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
I want to know who exactly broke that.
Yo, last
remember
year was
that
a
breakdown?
Crazy season, bro.
Yeah.
Last year was a crazy season, bro.
It was a good season though. There's so much that went on. The Pat Bev camera meme that came out. Like
that was a great meme. Yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah.
My goodness, bro. There's a lot going on that season, man. But he's Giddey's cooked. I'm gonna keep it up. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I just think it's done. It's over. I think he's cooked. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. I think he's cooked. You kind of hope it's not true, but I genuinely just think it's cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
We'll see.
It's not looking good.
Something interesting I've been thinking is like we always, and actually Jay and Fluent and I had talked about this on like a couple weeks ago, but like the Adam Silver NBA and all that's kind of how it's different, but so much has happened, especially in the last 2 years, that aren't just your typical like, oh, this was a really physical foul and needs a 5-game suspension, like Draymond kind of like that. Those type of things happen. But these are just like the Jaw situation and now this situation. Like these are kind of out of the ordinary. Yes, we can go back and pinpoint a few of incidents similar, I guess, but I just feel bad for Adam Silver, man. Like he's in a situation where like every week something crazy is going on, and it's like, I don't know. They're tough to handle and they impact a lot of people. So so we'll definitely keep you guys up to date on it. Chat, I hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving. Like I said, if you want us to touch on your team or anything specific, just let us know. But I do want to get into the dubs. We just played the Spurs, so let's kind of go back from that game. Gifted, you open us up. We slid away with that win, but we have been blowing large leads, and every game almost seems like it's too close for comfort. And so walk us through that game and kind of your takeaways.
Yeah, so it's been a while. I like how every time we do this show, a lot has happened with the team. I remember us trying to predict what our record was going to be. Wound up being correct about the Suns game, which was unfortunate because it's like we went down by so much. Our bench gets us back in the game. We're going like a 17-5 run. And by the way, Chris Paul with those three back-to-back techs for Golden State, where it's like tech, out of here, and then Steve Kerr also get the tech was tough.
Yep.
And through all that, we still get back in the game. And then Steve Kerr, for whatever reason, says, you know what? Corey Joseph is why we got back in this game. Bro. So when Stephen Clay come back in the game, Corey Joseph needed to still be out there. It was tough. We also blew a lot of leads in the Spurs game as well. That game felt like a lot of trolling, but we were able to close out strongly. I did like how Kerr gave Moody the start over Chris Paul. I like that because Moody, again, has been one of our most consistent players on the season thus far. But now this upcoming stretch this week is going to be a very big one because now Draymond is back. A GP is back. There are really no excuses for what this roster should be able to do now. And we now have a bigger sample size to evaluate the Steph, Clay, and Draymond team that this is. So seeing how that pans out also, we're no longer in the month of October. We're no longer in the month of November. We're in December. So like Clay's play in terms of the excuses and all of that, which I already don't like, but it's going to be less of them as we get closer and closer to January and February and March. So a lot is on the horizon, but we're in an okay space considering that we did lose 6 games straight. We're no longer on a terrible losing streak. So I'm thankful for that at the very least, Haley.
Yeah, 100%. And KB, like, we didn't get to talk about this yet, but the Cole Chris Paul Scott Foster situation, it's a legendary beef. And do you think it was valid? And also touch on the Spurs turnovers. It was like, I swear it was like 20 in a row. It was like turnover. I was like, we're about to lose this game. So break those situations.
For some reason, we still have this syndrome where we go up big and we actually control the game. We just start losing leads. We did that a lot last year, especially on the road. And I was like, bro, like this got to be annoying as hell to watch. But I'm glad we got the win. Shouldn't have been that close, but shout out to the Spurs. They're also another unserious team. So, but they're unserious for actually good reasons because they're young. We're unserious because
we're old.
We have no excuse. Yeah, against the Suns, I thought we were gonna win. Genuinely, I actually thought we were gonna win that game. Like Steph versus the Suns, usually Cooks and Phoenix. Can't wait to watch that game. It's gonna be nice. He was missing a lot of open looks that day, which is fine. It's gonna happen because he's been shooting like crazy numbers, especially throughout the season. But yeah, when I seen Scott Foster on the floor, because I didn't know who was reffing the game.
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
I looked like 5 minutes in the game. I'm like, oh, it's done.
I seen Scott, and I
was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I told myself, yo, chat, this is a loss. This is a loss. And then when CP3 got ejected, he was like, yo, you're up. And I seen him get ejected. I'm like, chat, we might have a chance to win now because CP's gone. And we actually almost did. We came back, like Gifted said, we were on a 17-5 run. It was pretty outstanding to see. I thought the bench was playing really, really well. Then Steve Kerr says, the heart and soul of this run, man. What got us here was that man, CJ, Corey Joseph. And that's when I lost my mind. I closed stream early. I just left. I couldn't keep streaming. It was just pissing me off. And it was a very tough loss. Yeah, a very, very, very tough loss, honestly. And against the Spurs, it was just like trolling. Like Steph, as good as Steph's been this season, I don't know what's going on with his decision-making ability, but he's just been making a lot of like very bad passes, like very, very bad, which is so weird because to start the season last year, I thought he was going back to like 13-14 passing where like a lot of great passing and decision-makings were being made. He was passing the hell out the ball. He was proving to be one of the better passers in the league, and it was just looking really, really good for him. And I was like, damn, okay, like Steph's getting back to his like on ball, like dominant side. And I'm just like, this is crazy. But then this year, it's just been like, he doesn't care where the ball goes. He's just throwing it out of bounds. He's not reading the correct coverage. Well, he's reading the correct coverages properly, but he's just throwing the ball around thinking that everyone's catch radius is crazy when it's not. He's just been throwing really wild passes. But other than that, he's been very, very good. Clay, yeah, I'm not really going to speak on him, to be honest with you. I think I said enough. I'm glad Draymond is back. I think we play the Kings on Tuesday for the in-season tournament in Sacramento. It's going to be a playoff-like atmosphere for sure because of the in-season tournament. The Warriors want to make it to the knockout round. There's a lot of, like, obviously not bad blood, but tension between the two teams. Fox is back as well because I think last time we played them, Fox wasn't even there. Yeah. And, it's going to be a great game as well. But this week has been some mediocre basketball from the Golden State Warriors. And I'm honestly disappointed because even with us losing our best defensive player and our best POA, I can understand that to a degree, but when you're going and playing the OKC Thunder, getting sunned, and playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they get their best wing defender ejected, and you still lose, and you're just making boneheaded decisions countless and countless times, it just leads me to believe this team is very unserious. And then it also makes me afraid because of the fact that we're not a trade deadline kind of team. We don't usually make trades at the deadline. So, like, are we really going to improve from this? I don't know. So, like, that uncertainty makes me kind of worried for this team going forward. But I'm glad to see Draymond back. Hopefully we can kickstart, like, an actual good run for the Dubs. But, yeah, hasn't been looking good for us at all. And Gift is right about that Clay December thing, but we're about to kick into that 2-month stretch of Clay averaging 25. If he doesn't, he's really cooked. I'm just letting you guys know. But it's all good.
Valid. I think that's fair. I mean, Underground just said like he's earned a couple bad games, and I hold that same belief. But yeah, we're getting to that point where he's going to be tested. I think he knows he's going to be tested. The team knows that. So let's just hope he comes through for us. But I think he will. And off what you said, KB, the in-season tournament set up on Tuesday. Anthony Slater put this out. So this is kind of what we can expect. If the Thunder beat the Wolves, the winner of the Warriors versus Kings in Sacramento wins Group C. But if the Wolves beat the Thunder, which I think we can all agree is probably more likely, the Warriors have to beat the Kings by 13 plus points to grab a 3-way tie and win Group C. So that's kind of the situation we're in there. Because I think we're 2-1 right now.
Yeah, we are. We beat OKC. We beat OKC. We beat the Spurs, and then we lost to Minnesota.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So anyways, that's kind of our situation. Hopefully with Draymond back, because we don't play until Tuesday. So we're not going to get a game. We're off for a good little stretch, which do you guys think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Do we need that break or do we need practice?
No, we need the break so we can get some practice in. I hope there's some level of practice going on. I hope Steve Kerr has realized after how many games we played, like 15, 16 games? I don't know, between 14 and 16. I don't know how many games we played so far. Wait. No, we're 6 and 8, correct? Or 7 and 8?
I think we're 7 and 8.
7 and 8 now.
Okay, yeah. So 15 games through the season. I hope Kerr is done with the trolling and lineup combinations now, because we do this every year with him. I don't know why he likes doing this. CP come off the bench, play him with Sarge and TJD. I'm tired of seeing Sarge at the 5 and continuously getting bullied by all these bigger bigs. And then Steve Kerr calling timeouts and being frustrated when you have an entire other 6'9" center who's also small, but who has a better chance of guarding a lot of the players that you want Sarge guarding, who isn't a capable defender like that.
We could at least play him over Dario too. There's always that option. Gary Payton.
Oh no, I can't.
I'm just saying, like, hey.
Look, we have like that lineup composed of CP, Sarge, and TJD is a lot more threatening offensively and defensively because you have a combination of 2 guys who could pass the ball versus 1, 2 guys who have the ability to roll versus 1 guy having the ability to roll and finish versus just no one. And then on top of that, the connective passing between the 2 of them is really, really good. When I see them both on the floor, I'm seeing Sarge run pick and roll with him. And I'm like, this is low-key kind of nice because Sarge has like a little bit of ability in terms of self-creation. It's not anything crazy, but like he can show it for certain possessions. So run those lineups. Run that with Kuminga. Involve Kuminga in the offense more. Like, I'm still seeing them just give him random possessions where he just gets the clear side and go at people, which is cool because he'll more often than not get to the line. But they're not incorporating him into the offense. You guys aren't like allowing him to actually flourish and become the actual creator that we need him to be. And it's hindering our offense even more because from my perspective, and Gifted's, I think he can agree with this as well, a lot of our bench production just comes from CP3 and Sarge, high pick and roll. That's all it comes from. Immediately off the drop, if they're playing drop, you kick it to Sarge. They attack Sarge, and then Sarge attacks the closeout. So it's like it just rinse and repeat over and over again. And I get it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But when teams switch that coverage, like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the OKC Thunder at times, and the Cleveland Cavaliers at times as well, other teams are going to recognize this. Like, hey, if we just switch this coverage, their entire bench offense is pretty much done. And it was, because in a lot of those games we were still outscoring the bench, but it wasn't as dominant as you think it was. So I just think that a lot more versatility needs to come out of that bench as well. And the starters as well just have to be better. Clay, you have to be better. Andrew Wiggins, you have to be better.
Andrew Wiggins got to be better.
Draymond Green, as much as he's been suspended and missing games, has been having actually one of his better offensive production seasons thus far this season. He's looked really good in terms of him hitting his shots, cutting to the basket, finishing at the rim. Like, he's been improving. So what we've asked of him, he's bringing to that table. Steph, of course, he's playing at that MVP level, and we know what kind of player he is. To me, top 2 player in the world, top 5 for sure. So we know what to expect out of our guys. But Looney is fine, but you got to play better. I need him to be finishing at the rim better. Wiggins just has to be better on both ends of the floor. And Clay, I'm genuinely just expecting him to be this mediocre, honestly. I'm not teetering with him anymore. But yeah, I
like the last couple of games for Clay in terms of his processing. His passing has been a lot better in these last 3 games. The shot consistency just isn't really going to be there with Clay. I've kind of come to just know that. But in terms of him like consistently having like a 5 or 6 game streak where he's shooting 40+% from 3, that would be nice. I do believe once you get later in the season, that's when you'll see a bit more of those. But his passing in either the Spurs game or the Suns game, I forget which one, but the passing was very, very good. Can he keep that up is the question, hopefully. But to me, the bigger jump has to come from what Andrew Wiggins gives us on a night-to-night basis offensively, because that has been very, very, very inconsistent. And that's the one guy that we didn't think would have any variance coming into the season. I thought like we pretty much, expected a solid 15 points or maybe 43%, 45% with like a 38% 3-point shot. And it's been the complete opposite of that. And that makes it very tough.
Yeah, there's no consistency from anyone except Steph. And although that's kind of normal with good bench production, it's just not going to fly in today's league, unfortunately. Something that I've been not necessarily disappointed in him, but I would have loved to see a little bit more. And we talked about this in the preseason, is Jonathan Kuminga. And I can't think of a better time for him to really step up to that call to action than when Draymond Green is out. Now, I understand that maybe he doesn't feel that pressure because he still is young. So, we'll give him grace. But what you were saying, KB, like he hasn't fit. The offense has not been suited to his game. And I'm starting to wonder, can it be when we still have Steph, when we still have Clay in the lineup? What can we do to kind of organize that offense, even if it is with the second unit, to include him more? And I know CP3 is just loves passing to Dario. I know they've just got this chemistry and it's dope, but what can we do to see Kuminga play more and build that confidence? Because we need him and his physicality to win anything, any type of championship. So where do we go with Kuminga?
Yeah, Kuminga, I agree. Is that I don't know whose mic is doing that, but I think Kuminga is like for sure our best not best, sorry, our underdog in terms of like what we need out of him, what he can be. If he reaches those levels, he can definitely help us get back into where we need to be in terms of contention. Because this is a guy we're talking about who was 6'7", 6'8", athletic, like from an athletic standpoint, has crazy intangibles and attributes. He's explosive, he's quick, he has a good first step, he's laterally sound as well. He has those he has the package to be built to be a very, very like versatile defensive player. He's also shown the ability to be guarding off ball, on ball, while having the like discipline to be, well, not discipline, but yeah, like you guys get what I'm trying to say. Defensively, he has a really high ceiling, and even his floor is still pretty decent as well. And then from an offensive standpoint, he's someone who can cut to the basket, who has shown the ability, honestly, is one of his better attributes, passing the ball as well. He actually makes some pretty good reads, especially out the post. I've seen him make a lot of skip passes to the correct guys, find guys who are open as well, and he's always in the right spots. His jump shot is to start a little bit shaky, but in the second half of last year, he was very, very good. So I expect it to pick back up, but you have to find him in his spots, and that's the whole point. When we brought CP3 in, we wanted him to integrate Kuminga into these lineups and actually make him a much better offensive player for us. But when he's not, and he's just playing through Sarge, which I get, Sarge is a more established offensive player. You know what he likes, you know where his spots are, so it's easier for you to just find him. But then it's not helping our offense in terms of, okay, let's maximize Sarge while also maximizing Kuminga. You know what I mean? Have Kuminga run the pick and roll with you and run Spain with Sarge popping out at the top. Sarge is still attacking out the closeout the same way, but he's just not the initial screener. Now you have Kuminga rolling and trying to make a decision or setting another screen for another player and just keeping him involved into the offense like that. Things like that would allow Kuminga to just be like integrated more and then obviously get more comfortable within the offense and for him to even recognize what spots works for him, what things he needs to work on. Because when he's barely touching the ball and then he gets the ball, messes up, he's probably thinking to himself, damn, I'm not getting enough touches for me to actually see like where I need to work on more. But that's pretty much it. Like you need to involve Kuminga a lot more. That's what I think. You just need to involve Kuminga a lot more. Find more sets for him as well. That's just what I think.
I like what KB is saying because the idea of Chris Paul was to basically make the younger players better. And instead, what we've seen more of is Chris Paul and Dario Saric two-man games where sometimes I feel like the sets just aren't there for other players on the court. There's not enough cutting that we're seeing from these guys. Chris Paul's main partner is Dario Saric. There's not that many Chris Paul and Kuminga two-man games. It's not really much that we're seeing from these other players in those types of lineups. And I kind of feel like the sets for Kuminga, like Kuminga will occasionally get post-up, sure. But with all this being said, it's still impressive to me that Kuminga is still able to get to the free throw line better than he did last year. He's one of our only other guys that can actually get there. Obviously, you want him to start to make a bit more, but if he's able to increase his volume with his usage going up in those lineups, I think that would be a very big thing for him because for this team, we really only have two wings, and that's really Kuminga and that's Andrew Wiggins. And as we said before, Andrew Wiggins has been less aggressive trying to, attack closeouts and get downhill. He's been more of a perimeter shooter, and he's not making those shots. So Kuminga could potentially fill in his presence physically, but you need to use that and ride that a lot more, especially with Chris Paul, who's a good passer, who can make those reads to Kuminga. Just seeing more creative sets involving those two on the basketball floor, to me, is a must if we're to have more success moving forward with the season.
Gifted, how would you answer Todd? He said, is that more of a Chris Paul or a Kerr issue when it comes to seeing that continuously run?
I'm going to be honest. I think that's more of a Kerr issue than Chris Paul. I understand that Chris Paul is more comfortable with Dario so far, but there's been a lot of things that Kerr hasn't done that I'm kind of questioning. Like, my biggest thing, even beyond this, is a part of Klay's issue for why he's not really fitting in is they're not running many actions with Klay off the ball to be a cutter, to just get easy backdoors. And people say, oh, well, Klay's cooked because he's old, he can't do that. But literally a season ago, Klay was getting these easier cuts to the basket. You're not really seeing that. That's why it's more so 3-point shot or bust, because if he doesn't make the three, he does what? He's going to drive, he's going to pick the ball up, he's going to move his left foot, and then he's going to fade away. Or one dribble pull up. Like, he has a very limited on-ball bag. So having more cuts and more things involving him off the ball, to me, would be a good way to get him going. Because for shooters, especially when shots aren't going in, just seeing the ball touch the net is a big thing for you mentally. So seeing more involvement with that would be huge. But Kerr hasn't been doing that. Just like for the Kuminga thing, not having him more involved in the offense, to me, is a massive oversight. So got to see how these things shake, but it's still relatively early. But again, we can't be saying this in January. We can't be saying this in the month of March, right? Like, these things have to come to a head, preferably right now before the new year.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we're definitely on a strict timeline, and I think everybody feels that. But KB, maybe you can answer this, because Gifted was just mentioning, right, Kuminga's getting to the line more, which is interesting because as much as we talk about Poole, and maybe we can talk about the Wizards later, but wasn't he shooting the second most free throws last season, or maybe it was like Wiggins then Poole, but like Poole got to the line all the time.
No, it couldn't have been Wiggins. That guy does not get to the basket like that. So nah.
Well, I feel like he did more, but he just couldn't hit free throws either. So I think it was Jordan. I think he shot a high percentage. He was like 87% or something last season. But yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, we do that, and also touch on Moody's ascension, because yes, Steve Kerr trusted him to start. I would have liked to see him finish that game. I don't know why Steve didn't want to put him in more minutes, but talk about Moody and kind of JK as well, and like, where do we go from here with them, and how do we get more fluid Warriors basketball? Because that's what we are so used to. We're used to seeing ball movement, we're used to seeing cuts, we're used to seeing these smart plays that now when I see them, I'm like, I see like 2 a game. They're rare. You just don't see them anymore. Where do we go from here?
I don't even know. It's so weird, because as much as people used to be like, oh, the Golden State Warriors, shooting threes is not going to get you championships, like when the dynasty first started. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I agree to some extent. But then obviously when you have 2 anomaly of shooters in Klay and Steph, it kind of like makes that argument mute. You feel me? So like, even the name of the game for us was always defense first. We got out on defense. We got in transition. We played quick. And then in the half court, we used Steph and Klay's ability to be able to shoot the three to find guys open looks in the paint. And that was just something that we've always done. And I think Kerr from the jump was obviously really, really good at. And then obviously integrating the small ball lineups. That way the people who do run bigs, I don't know how to say it, like the bigs who weren't as skilled as like today's bigs will usually get just played off the floor, because of the fact that the Warriors will go small, they're getting rebound, their defense is a lot more switchable and versatile, and then offensively they just played up tempo and fast while also cutting to the basket. And then because of the fact that Steph is bringing out all these bigger defenders out onto the perimeter, it would just allow the back line to be wide open for just one-on-one cuts. You make the right read in the pass and you're resulting into wide open layups. And then now I feel like the ball movement is still there. Like, we move the ball east to west still very, very well. But there's not the pump fake, attack a closeout, kick out, pump fake, attack a closeout, and the ball swinging in and out, like north to south, then east to west. It's just been east to west the entire time until someone gets daylight to shoot the basketball. And that's just not Warriors basketball to me. Yes, the ball movement is there, but the ball movement should start from a closeout being attacked or a split action being cut to, then to a kickout pass for a wide open three. When we generate looks like that, we usually knock them down, but we're not looking at the basket enough at all. And then teams are recognizing this and saying, okay, we're just going to switch everything, kind of just play in shade over here, play the gaps, and you'll be all right. This team is not being serious in terms of getting to the basket. And you seen it against the Lakers. When we weren't getting to the basket like that at all, they would show at that level just to make sure that we weren't getting high quality looks. And our offense was very, very bad until Steph, someone who's had the ability to draw a two, and GP2, who had the ability to cut to the basket, were using that pick and roll, or JaMychal Green as well. Then teams started respecting the shot more and the roll more, which resulted into open corner threes, which resulted into AD being pulled out to the lane, which resulted into open baskets. So that is my point. Like, I don't understand why we go away from these things, because we still have cutters, we still have Wiggins, we still have Kuminga. You can still, get this right, you can still use Klay to get open baskets. Like, he doesn't, Klay's a really, really bad self-creator, like really, really bad. So you can use his ability to still move. He's still a pretty good off-ball mover. Now, he's not the same as he was like 2-3 years ago or 4 years ago, but he's still a pretty good one. And you're not using him to actually cut to the basket. You're not using him to be a screen setter for him to attract more defenders. Like, when I see him set screens for other guys, he's usually getting himself freed up. Or Steph. If Steph is being used as a screen setter, more often than not, the guy who's using that screen is getting open. So you can use that and still play at a high pace as well. Another thing that bothers me about this offense is that when CP is on the floor, our pace is so slow, and I hate it. I genuinely hate it. I understand that we need someone who can slow it down, find quality looks, but there's no quality looks to be found on the half court because A, you're not looking at the basket, and two, when you slow down this pace, you're hindering your own offense. Like, legitimately, it's better for us to play in pace because some of the half court creation that we have aside from Steph is really bad. So I just don't understand why we go away from these things when it makes our offense even like a lot more stronger going forward. So I don't know. Start cutting, man. Let's start cutting to the basket, bro. It's getting ridiculous, Haley. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting ridiculous.
No, I know it's. Here's like part of me is like, this is the point where we've had a good run, and I'm not saying there's not still hope. I think with Steph at the level he's playing at, we can always have hope. But I'm just so curious, like what's going on behind the scenes? What is Mike Dunleavy and the front office? What are they talking about? Joe Lacob, are they discussing how can we fix this season, or is it a let's just ride this out until we have expiring contracts and maybe next season we'll make some moves? Like, what do you guys think is going to happen this season?
I think right now the goal of the front office with this team for right now is they just want to see the team be near 500 by the deadline. Just be near 500. Don't put yourself in such a dramatic hole that they can't dig themselves out of it. And they're just trying to evaluate these players truly, because they have to be very careful, because this is a team that is paying a very big tax. And based on how we're playing, it's not a team worthy of that tax. So moves are going to be made regardless. And also, while Steph Curry is on this roster, every move that you make matters. If you say, you know what, we don't think Jonathan Kuminga has it, we're going to trade him for basically nothing just to keep off of the tax. What if Kuminga pops the next year, right? Like, these are things that they have to manufacture in their conversations and find exactly how to kind of circumnavigate throughout the season, but also for the vision of Steph still being the best player on this team. And that's hard. Like, that's not an easy conversation, especially when you have multiple histories with Steph, Draymond, and Klay. But ultimately, if your goal is to win a championship with Steph Curry as the best player in 2023 and 24 and 25, you have to make sure that you're moving aligned under that goal. If not, then that's another conversation that they're probably also having in terms of how long is Steph going to be Steph. These are the serious conversations that they've had. And again, that's why I think Poole had to be moved, because contractually, if he was kept on this roster, making that fit would have handicapped the team to improve based off his contract, which is a tough conversation to have. Also, with the Poole Draymond thing, we know exactly what that was. So for them, this season has to be about evaluating where we are, how good these guys are, giving the younger guys their other opportunity to then finally make a true decision about the roster, contracts, and what other directions you might want to go with after this season.
100% agree with you, Gifted. Huncho, I don't hate Houston. I don't know what your problem is, so you're tripping on that one. But okay, moving on, and we will have some of you guys up here today.
Wait,
I know
is that
we have
the same Gifted? Is that the same Huncho from Twitter?
I think it is the same Huncho. It might be. It might be.
Yo,
He's around.
Don't take him serious. He's a troll.
No. I know Huncho. I'm just kidding, but he's definitely trolling. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the schedule for this upcoming week, and I wanna kind of break down. We're getting Draymond back this next game. Thank God. Man, I'm one of Draymond's biggest fans. I really am. Like, it's so easy to break down like all the bad he's done, but he's taken on that villain role and he's taken it on well. I understand if you don't like Draymond, if he's hurt a player on your favorite team. I understand and I respect that. But I personally will back Draymond up. I'm ride or die for Dre. And I don't really care what people think. So I want to break down these next few games. Of course, we have the in-season tournament. And real quick, do you guys, what are your thoughts on the in-season tournament? Is it a win? Was this a good thing that we did here?
I was waiting for this conversation. Okay. So there were so many people in the offseason trying to tell me that the in-season tournament was bad. Like, it shouldn't happen, right? Yeah. I was of the mindset that, does it need to happen? For me, no, because basketball naturally, with the talent coming in, is getting more competitive on a night-to-night basis anyway. But it's cool. They won with the play-in. That was dope. I like that. That's a great addition to our league. Let's just see what the in-season tournament provides. And in year one, I got to say, most of the nights where it's been in-season tournament, the games have been good. Yeah. If you want to say that, like, it would have been that way without it, sure, fine. But the players, from the interviews I've seen, they care. They want to win that extra $500,000 for like their mother, their cousin, or some other players who don't have guaranteed roster spots. Like, they care about it. And the product has been good. But the smart thing, which I did not know, I didn't look at the schedule ahead of time to see this. But the smart thing is now, after this last phase of teams, as they get wiped out, basically, the next couple of days are exclusively in-season tournament games. So if you didn't make the tournament, your team doesn't play for like 4 to 5 games. I know this because I was looking at the league schedule, and after the second is basically in-season tournament games all the way through and through and through until we have a championship winner, which is kind of big because now it's like, well, damn, we didn't care, so no one sees us play for like 4 to 5 games. But at the same time, you get rest.
Right.
So win-win, I think. That's
kind of interesting. I like that a lot. Yeah, you lose out on a few games, but it also gives everyone kind of time to reset and gives a stage to the teams that have played well. So I like that. KB, how do you think you've enjoyed it so far?
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought it was just a money grab. I thought it was something just to engage the fans to see. And I'm like, I don't know if anyone's gonna take this serious. But Gift is right. I'll be honest. The in-season tournament hasn't been great. Like, I remember the most outstanding game to me was Atlanta versus Indiana. That was by far the best in-season tournament game.
They was hooping, yeah.
My God, it was so much baskets being scored. It was insane. But yeah, it has that same competitive spirit. I hate the courts. I think they're extremely ugly, but it's fine. I think I like the vibe to it, but they could have done better with that. But nah, it's really competitive. I would never thought in my entire life that a bunch of NBA players who already make a lot of money, even if you are on non-guaranteed contracts, you're still getting some money, are fighting over $500K. I would never have thought that. I would have never thought that. But they somehow managed to do it, and it's become very competitive, and teams are taking it serious. The only team that actually hasn't taken it serious is the Clippers, which is pretty ironic because if y'all know what Lou Williams said, they didn't take the 2020 bubble serious. So the fact that they're not taking the in-season tournament serious as well is pretty funny and ironic.
I'm not gonna lie, KB, you might disagree with me, but I actually think they did take it serious. They just weren't good enough to win those games. I'm not even trying to be an asshole, but it's like that Denver game was very close, and they just could not beat Denver. You know.
Okay. Actually, really quick, chat, you guys can answer this too, but I've heard a lot of hate recently. So I want you guys to start bench cut Ty Lue Doc Rivers and Steve Kerr as coaches. Drop it in.
Cutting Ty Lue very easily.
Wait, what was the?
Okay,
what
you
was
got
it?
Doc Rivers, Steve Kerr, and Ty Lue.
You said Doc Rivers.
Oh,
You said Doc
starting
Rivers.
Steve,
My bad.
I'm benching Ty Lue. I'm cutting Doc.
Yeah,
Doc is
yeah.
not a coach.
I did not know you said Doc Rivers. That changed
Chat,
the
I'll be honest
entire.
with you.
Yeah,
I can coach better than Doc Rivers. I can.
No,
Not
he's
hard
bad
to, bro.
coach.
Oh, and real quick, what did you guys think about the whole Pop situation? And I'll go first. Like, you know how Pop was telling him you guys need to kind of like keep it down when everybody was booing.
Oh, for Kawhi? Yeah.
People are like tripping out about it. But what do you think about that? Like, should a coach get involved in that capacity and tell the arena fans who paid to
why not?
do that?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought it was hilarious, but people are saying Pop needs to go. Pop like needs to chill out on like
chill out on you. They need to, bro. Let it go. It was like, when did he leave San Antonio? How many years ago has it been? It's been so long, guys. Like at some point,
he's old.
At some point, you have to just let it go. I'll be honest with you.
But I feel like at some point, also, like when you're that old, like respect it. Like who cares? He's an old man. He's earned the right to pretty much do whatever he wants. And Popovich is cringe getting away from Wemby. Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird situation, but
nah, I don't think so. Like it was one of the players that you coached. You helped develop him in terms of being a great player. He's shown to be one of the better players in the league when healthy. Obviously, even though Kawhi is off to a rough start this season, you still show respect because that's one of your fellow. I'm not gonna say students, but like somebody you were coaching, right? So you helped them pave the way in terms of being a player that they became. Yeah, they might have left your franchise because they don't want to compete any there, but like that same respect is still there. Now I get it. Like after like first game back, after he's been traded to the Toronto Raptors, and you're just like, "Boo, Kawhi, why'd you leave us?" Like I get it, but like, bro, it's we're almost in 2024. At some point, you gotta let it go. I'll be honest with you. Like you just gotta let it go.
We NBA fans don't let anything go. We have hold the biggest grudges
it's not good
for years.
It's not good for your health. I'll be honest. It's not good for your health.
It's not. That's very true. That's very true. Okay. All right, you guys. So we're going to get into the schedule until we meet again. So we've got 3 games between now and next Sunday. Obviously, in-season tournament against the Kings. Thursday, we play the Clippers, and then we play the Clippers again on Saturday. And then we'll have that like week and a half break for the in-season tournament. So, so this is a big push. I would love to go 3-3 in this next week. I think that would be great for morale and momentum. But is that a possibility, KB? What do you think?
Wait, if we beat the Kings, are we okay? I'm not confused.
13 points.
So the Thunder and the Wolves are playing, right, in the in-season tournament?
Yes.
Is that So if the Thunder beat the Wolves, we have to win by 13?
No, if the Thunder beat the Wolves, we move on. We win.
Right.
But if the Wolves beat the Thunder, which, like I said, I think that's probably more likely, but who knows? We have to win.
I might have the Thunder that game. I'm not
okay. I hope so.
That's gonna be a good game, man.
Absolutely. But I think all the games will be that day. But yeah, so we need to win by at least 13 to have a 3-way tie. So I don't exactly understand why that all.
The point differential makes sense to me now. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you're winning games and then because everyone could be winning in the group, not everyone, but like majority team could be winning in the group. There might be ties, but then the point differential helps as well because how bad are you beating these teams, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
But I mean, I don't know how many games we've won by 13. I think we could count them on one hand this season because every game.
I think the last time we won by 13 or more was in Sacramento. So.
Yeah, I mean, we do kind of own their franchise, but I'm not trying to get cocky. Shout out to the Kings; they're fantastic. So,
bro, Fox has been killing it, dude, man.
You gonna take that, bro?
Listen, Fox has been playing really good basketball, like really, really good hoops.
Wait,
I think
you're just gonna let her talk to you about like your team like that, dog?
I'm not a Kings fan.
No, you're not a Kings fan.
Now's the time to just let it out. Let it all out.
It's okay. You can. It's fine, bro. I'm with you.
No. So I feel like the Kings game is going to be super competitive because these guys have not beat us at all preseason or whatever. They just have not beat us ever since like the playoffs. So I think they're like really going to try to set the tone. Mike Brown is going to have them prepared to play. But I also think that for us, that's a game that we also get up for. You know what I'm saying? So like I forget. So our next 3 games, you said Kings and who else? Who else again?
Yeah, Kings, Clippers, back to back. The Clippers game is at home. Second game against them is in LA.
Oh, I can't wait for that, bro. Steph gonna be frying.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie, bro. The Clippers game is gonna be hilarious because like both teams want to go small.
Yo,
so it's literally about to be small
chat,
versus small.
I'm locking it in. Based off of the teams we're playing this week, Steph player of the week this week. I'm locking it in already, bro.
Easy.
That's two terrible defenses, by the way. So I'm locking in Steph's averaging 35 this week. I am. That's my prediction.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's do predictions and Gift to kind of give us a rundown of, is Draymond going to really help elevate us throughout these games, especially maybe against the Clippers matchup?
I think Draymond is huge in the Clippers matchup, like tremendous. I think that since both teams want to go small, we're going to be able to have a advantage because we just have more defensive guys than the Clippers to me, but they do still have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. But Draymond's rim protection is going to be tremendous, especially in the Kings matchup, because he just understands how to blow up a lot of actions that they want to do with Fox and also Sabonis. So his presence is going to be very important for these 3 games. Very important.
I agree with Gifted 100%. I think Draymond being back is the fact that Draymond's first game is back is against Sacramento in Sacramento.
Hilarious, bro.
Is he gonna get another 10-game suspension?
I hope not, man.
I pray not, man.
Draymond, we need you this season, big dog. I can't
do not step on Sabonis again, bro.
As much as I love you putting, like, I love when he puts Rudy Gobert in a full Nelson and he's chirping and he's like doing Draymond things, but we need you. I can't have you be suspended again for a longer period, bro. I'm tired of seeing CP3 this much. Please come back and please be relaxed when you come back as well.
Yo, real quick, I just want to say the chat is listen. Rico versus FIFA is hilarious. This man Rico said it must hurt rebuilding since 1957. That's toxic.
Nah, that's he's gonna take that. Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
That's crazy.
Fight back, FIFA boy. Okay.
But
yeah, Draymond.
Good though. Can't hate.
Yeah,
man, bro. I think Draymond's gonna come back on timing though. I genuinely think that. I think this was I
love how he played before too. Yeah,
I think this was a good rest. Yeah, it was. I think it was a good resting week for him. I think he's gonna be coming out aggressive, ready to like fire on all cylinders. Honestly.
Yep.
And I think him being back as well, it's just gonna help our defense obviously because we've been needing that especially. We've been missing our anchor for so long now. And then with the addition of GP2 as well, just being out there is just going to be very, very good. I just hope, all I want, chat, and Haley and Gifted, is just for the starting lineup to go back to what it was last year and for Steve Kerr to stop playing these trolling lineups. I don't know why CJ is still being integrated into these lineups. And by CJ, I mean Corey Joseph. Because this brother reeks.
Oh, you gave him, wait. Why did you give Corey Joseph a nickname?
It's an acronym, bro. That's all it is.
I don't want you getting.
Don't get attached, KB.
I don't want to get like no level of familiar with. Listen, I'm gonna call that man Corey Joseph every time.
What's his jersey number?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't even want to know.
Let's just call him number 1. I think that's his jersey number. Let's call him number 1.
I'm sorry, but I'm never calling Corey Joseph number 1. That's just not gonna happen for me.
Okay, what about 1?
No, that's just not.
Actually, nah. I call James.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You can't. Yeah, you can't.
Okay, so can you bring up this comment from Brandon Katz?
Yes.
That's how you say your last name?
KB with okay, Brandon.
Brandon. KB with a dumb take. The Warriors roster sucks. They don't have a roster combination that could work. I'm be 100% honest with you, bro. I don't think this is all the way true. I think our roster is incomplete. I think we're missing things that would really help us. But I don't think our roster sucks, because if our roster actually sucked, we wouldn't be outscoring benches the way we have throughout this entirety of the season. It just wouldn't make sense. Like, our bench production has been really, really good. B-Pods has looked well as well at stretches. I think him being not aggressive is not helping us. TJD's looked well. He just hasn't got enough minutes. There's guys on our bench who have been really productive. Moses Moody, GP2, TJD, B-Pods, Sarge. Even when I hate on CP3, he's still been relatively productive as well.
Yeah.
Like, I still think this bench has been outscoring and even from a defensive standpoint has looked really sound as well for some stretches. It just is a few tweaks and lineup combinations that aren't helping. Like running Sarge at the 5, it's just not helping your defense. When you play TJD and Sarge along with CP3, this allows more offensive and defensive versatility rather than just all offense, no defense, because them slanted lineups can help, But when your starting roster isn't competent, you got to be a little bit more creative and flexible. So I think our roster isn't one of the best in the league, but we're definitely not one of the worst rosters in the league. That's just not true at all. We still have arguably a top 5 defender in Draymond Green in the league. We still have not arguably a top 5 player in the association. We still have good wings. We still have a solid stretch forward as well. So our roster isn't terrible by any means. So like I just completely disagree. And he also said that Denver didn't have a bench last year other than Bryce Brown. It's Bruce, first of all. Second of all, they also had Christian Braun as well on the bench. Guys like Zeke Naji as well, who's also actually a very good player too. And Jeff Green. So you're just completely forgetting about the entire roster for some odd reason, who actually played a big part in their championship run. But hey, if you think that championship rosters consist of 6-man lineups, then I don't know what sport you're watching, but I guess that's up to you, bro.
Yeah, Brandon, we hear you, and maybe you can come on later or maybe not. But appreciate your input. Okay. I wanted to talk about, I guess, any more thoughts on the Clippers lineup? What's the best lineup? Because I know we wanted to get into a bit more of Steve Kerr's lineups. And what would you say is the best lineup to play against the Clippers? And who do you think their starters will? I mean, I guess we know who their starters will be, but are we going to see a little bit more Norman Powell? Are we going to see Rob Covington? Like, who are we going to see? Wait, is Covington still on the Clippers, or am I tripping?
No. He's in Philly. He's in Philly.
But yeah, like, who do we think is gonna play well in that game from both teams? Are you see Harden go off? Or
I think Harden could play well. I'm not taking PG serious. I don't care how well he's playing. I'll never take him serious.
Oh, that's hate. That's
really?
hate.
You don't rock with PG, man?
No, actually, I rock with PG, but I just don't think he's gonna play well. It's for an agenda, that's why. So I have to stand by the business. I have to stand on business. So
you gotta stand on bit. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta stand on business. You know what I'm saying? But I think, I love Uno. If anyone knows me, man, I rock with Uno heavy, and I think he's gonna play well. Hopefully, Russ plays terrible so I can laugh. That's another. I have to stand on business with that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Kawhi. I'll be honest with you, chat, bro. This is not a crazy take in my opinion, but Kawhi currently has not been playing like a top 10 player in the NBA.
Paul George has been the best player on that team.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what's going on with number 2 in LA, but he has not looked good by any means. Now I get it. It could be just a slump. You can give him a little bit of leeway, but I'm not even talking about from a production standpoint, because I know he'll shoot the ball better. From a tendencies and like his athletic ability and those things that would help him like be the means for him to be the player that he is. And even on the defensive end, it just like it's not the same as what it once was. Like I'm seeing the regression hit, and I don't understand why no one talks about this. Like I get it's Kawhi, but the amount of prompt we give Kawhi, because when we give him the when he's healthy talks, he's top 5, but then no one talks about like the negativities the regressions that he's having from this year and even last year to a certain extent as well, because he's not the same defender as he once was. Can't get to the basket as much as he once was, and the mid-range shot isn't even falling right now, and his scoring output isn't great at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with number 2, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he continues this, some talks might have to be made real quick about where he ranks right now, because there's another small forward, technically, in earlier parts of his career that you guys like to slander a lot. His name is Kevin Wayne, and he's actually having an outstanding year this far.
He is.
And his 3-point shot is back. And he's been getting to the rim as well. So right now, I'll be honest with you, he's far clear of whatever Kawhi is doing. And
I agree with that. So yeah.
But I think we have to give I agree with you, KB, on pretty much everything you just said. It's just like it's a known fact. Like some people are saying he's lazy and whatnot. And I think he has some games where you definitely, he's there, but he's not really there. But the thing is, his knees are legitimately degenerating. Like they're barely
falling off the bone. I'm not
there's barely it's just meat and bone at this point. All the muscles are fading, and it's just sad. So I wonder if there's a part of him that's just like, if I go hard for 5 games in a row, I know I'm gonna get hurt. Like, do you think that could be playing a part into why he's playing, or do you think it is laziness? I'm
gonna be honest. I just feel like a lot of this conversation comes down to Kawhi's not making shots at the same rate that we know him to do. And last year, I remember these same conversations were being had with him, and then he ended the season shooting 50, 40, 90. Obviously, that's not who Kawhi is. I think he's somewhere in the middle. but the start to his season has not been great. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's at like 57, maybe 58 true shooting. For Kawhi, that's not Kawhi standards. And I think that it's fair to hold him accountable because literally Paul George has been their most consistent and best player on that roster the entire year.
Yeah.
I think Kawhi is reaching a point to where it's similar to Jimmy Butler, where sometimes his regular season just are not who we think he is as a player.
Yeah.
But then in the playoffs, he plays better. So it's like, oh, he's top 5 for this. But like in terms of regular season load, we're not seeing Kawhi play at that consistent high peak so far. We just haven't seen it.
But I don't know about that because Jimmy, we don't even put Jimmy in these talks. Even when Jimmy is going off in the playoffs and he's doing what he does, no one dares to put him in talks with like. No one says like he's better than Luka or something like that. No one does those things.
No. So I'm not saying he's playing like Jimmy Butler. I'm saying it's.
No, I know what you mean. Like in terms of like posted playoff, not regular season, he's coasting.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's not looking the same playoff rise, and then people gas it. I'm saying with Jimmy, when he's rising, people might do the Jimmy might be better than Tatum thing, but that's usually for banter. Like I don't think. There was a point where there was an argument, but I don't think that there's an argument for that anymore because I think Tatum's just a better player now. But no one does that. Okay. No one.
Let's get into this.
No one does that with Kawhi, where it's like, no one does that with Jimmy. Sorry, where he goes all the way into Luka talks, or like, you know what I'm saying, or like when healthy is still better than KD. Like no one does that. But when Kawhi does it and he goes to the playoffs, and mind you, he's still a playoff riser for sure. But the playoff rising only lasts for like a round and a half. Because he gets hurt, or you feel me, and he'll still get ascended into the talks. Where, to be honest, you're just not doing him justice. Like, I think KD's a better player. I think Embiid's a better player. I think Luka's a better player. I think Steph's a better player. I think Giannis is a better player. I think Jokic is a better player. I think it's just better. I think LeBron is still a better player. Honestly, even at this point right now. Yeah, now, like he's been 100%. Playing outstanding basketball. And if you want, if there's
Bron's been great this year too.
Right now,
if there is anyone who has the ability to have the when healthy is still better than a lot of these top tier guys, it
would be LeBron.
It's literally just him.
That's a great point.
Because he actually shown you the ability to be that caliber of player before time in and time out. So I'm not gonna sit here and keep giving you that tax over and over again and leeway when no one does when I shouldn't have to, because other players who get to sit don't get that same opportunity as you. So I just don't think it's fair. So that's why I disagree a little bit with what Gifter was saying in terms of the Jimmy thing, because the way Kawhi gets talked about when he's on is insane. Like they put him in some insane talks. They do some like AD gets that same thing as well, where he has his stretch and then people put him in crazy talks, which I don't mind to some degree, but he just isn't in any like Giannis talks, for example, with AD, just like how Kawhi isn't in Luka talks, in my opinion. So like, you feel me? That's just me. That's just what I think.
I'm kind of curious because, I mean, one, I think we all can agree Kawhi's overall bag is far, far deeper than Jimmy's, but a lot of that has to do with his size, physicality, his defense, right? Something Jimmy hasn't really had on the same level, obviously. I mean, Kawhi's one of the best two-way players ever. So at the same time, you also have to add that Kawhi has won a chip, and Jimmy hasn't. And so that's always going to come into these conversations. But, and then overall career, I think we could say Kawhi's been, I don't even know if it'd be fair to say Kawhi's been better for a longer period of time. I mean, I would say for sure, but I don't know. I don't know why the disrespect comes for Jimmy when Jimmy's been the best he could be in situations time and time and time again. I don't like the Jimmy disrespect, but.
No, I'm not even saying from disrespect for Jimmy. I just think even when a player's highs are at his highs, you shouldn't put him in talks where he shouldn't be in. And that's just a fact. That's what I'm saying. Like Jimmy in his circumstances has actually exceeded expectations a lot more times than you can argue someone like Kawhi, because Kawhi's expectations are usually really, really high because of the caliber of player that he is. In comparison to Jimmy, it's lower because one team-oriented things, and him just being a worse player, he's not going to have the same expectations. But he exceeded a lot of those expectations, going to the finals, beating teams he shouldn't have beaten, outplaying guys who we thought were better than him at the time being. Like, he's done those things countless times, and as well as with Kawhi as well. I'm not going to sit here and he hasn't act like he hasn't done that as well. But then no one everybody can recognize that, and be like, yeah, Jimmy's amazing, but he's just not better than someone like an Embiid. Like, I just don't think that. But when Kawhi is doing it, right, and he gets to the playoffs, and then he plays against a team that is not a crazy defense and absolutely destroys them, they throw him in talks he just shouldn't be in. You feel me? So, like, that's just me. That's what I think, honestly. I think that he is an amazing player. I think he's definitely a top 10 player, like, just in the grand scheme of things. But I don't think he's been playing like one. And then when he does play like one, they put him in this, like, in those same talks that he just shouldn't be in. Like, that's just what I think.
So like, what I think is when Kawhi is healthy, and we've seen him during the regular season play like a top 10 player. We've seen that comfortably when he's healthy. I think the injuries have reached a point to where it's going to take him longer to warm up and be the Kawhi that we know. And if you want to tax him for that, saying, well, you can't maintain this level of play for a high amount of games, I think that's fair. But I think when Kawhi is at his best, he's absolutely in those, best player in the world conversations. But the roster, in terms of like how many players can say that?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah, when Kawhi
currently, like right now.
Yes.
No, when he's healthy.
When he's at his best, like what we know of Kawhi, right? When he's at his best. If you think about how Kawhi played in those 2 games last year in the playoffs versus Phoenix, right? Kawhi was playing it like, damn, he's easily like a top 3 playoff performer right now based off these 2 games. I'm not trying to gas it, but my point is at that level, it's few players in the league that can reach that level, is my point to you, KB. And if you're saying that even though his ceiling can be that, his floor is so low because of games played and health, I can't put him in those talks, then I get it. Yeah. But I can't ignore like how good of a player he is when he's right. We haven't seen him make shots, and he should be held accountable to that standard. But when he starts playing better again, you're then going to see people gas it up to a higher level.
Yeah.
But that's my problem though, because every time he gets right, it's such for a limited amount of time, to the point where it's like, is this him just getting right, or is the person who is struggling, that's who he actually is when he's just normal? Because more often than not, we continue to see him struggle, but we continue to see him at his floor, where it's just inconsistent. It's harder for him to create his own shot. He's not getting to the paint as much. He's a lot more slow-footed. He doesn't have that same ability to guard out some of the quicker guards. There's still some defensive attributes that he has that are pretty outstanding. Like, him as a post defender, I think, is a really, really good attribute. And him guarding like not bigger footed, but like slower footed guys, he still has the ability to lock down as well. And I still think he makes well defensive reads that a lot of other defensive players just can't make. And that's just a fact. I think Kawhi defensively is still up there in terms of what he can do, but they're just things that are hindering him because of injury and age. And that's my whole point. When you get to that age, and when you get to that point, things are just going to start to hinder you, and you're not going to look the same. So every time I'm talking about, like, when I hear like, oh, Kawhi, when he's healthy, he gets back to this level, and then I see him in the playoffs. You pointed out 2 games, which is fine, but then again, that's 2 games.
Only 2 games, right?
I'm not going to sit here and gas that, right? And when people he gets to the playoffs and he plays the Utah Jazz, like, he was cooking the Utah Jazz. I vividly remember this. But at the same time, how much value are we going to put into the Utah Jazz's defense, especially for someone like Kawhi, right? So, like, there's things like that go into that, like that play context into that. And I'm not going to sit here and try to take away what he was doing. But when I'm seeing more often than not, you struggle, and then when you are healthy and you have that good stretch, it's something like Clay, like not Clay in terms of him as a player, but like the inconsistency stretch, where it'd be a stretch of terrible basketball and 2-3 months of like absolute highs, then he goes back down to what he was. I don't think Kawhi is that at all, by the way. I don't. But I think his inconsistencies are starting to show because of his age and injuries, and that's just pure regression. So that's why I just don't think even when he's at his highs, are still in some of the talks that he's being put into. That's just me. That's just
okay. So then my question then is, okay, if he does this again in the playoffs at a super high level this year in the first round, and like, let's say he plays the first round but gets hurt again in like the second round and they lose or whatever, right? Would you acknowledge that Kawhi is still that player if he shows it to you again for another playoff series?
I think Kawhi is still that player regardless, even when he is healthy. Like, I agree in terms of a general statement, but I don't think he's that player when he's being put into the talks that I'm talking about. The Giannis's, the Jokic's, the Steph's, the
Yeah, but that's what I'm
Lukas,
saying. Like,
the Embiid's, the KD.
right.
I'll be honest with you. Right now, as it stands, I don't think Kawhi is in the Embiid and KD talks right now because these guys are playing at a level that is clearly shown to be a lot better than what Kawhi is doing at the moment. And from an offensive,
but like you're saying at the moment, and I agree with that. Like that's facts.
Yeah.
But the funny part is when you say at this current moment, if he reaches the playoffs and then plays at that level, and it's like, damn, it's Jokic, it's Steph, or maybe LeBron. Like these are the best playoff guys, and then Kawhi's like right here with them. Then it's like, okay, well, maybe he was slower to play at that level, but he can still reach it. I think what you're questioning is, can he really still reach that level when it matters?
If it was for gifted, if it was for an entirety of a run, then I'd be with you. But if it's for 2 games and for only a round and a half, especially, no offense, against defenses that he should be cooking, then I'm not going to be like, Kawhi is back in these talks. Because if KD had the same, I'll bring a perfect example. When Kawhi goes down and KD is balling in this series, no one talks about how KD was frying the Suns that much. But if it was, when you flip it the other way around, when the Suns in reality weren't that good of a defense, and this was actually a defense where Kawhi had the ability to still to showcase his ability to be an elite scorer, he showed you that. And everyone looks at it like Kawhi was cooking the Suns, but then when you look at KD from his perspective, KD was cooking when Kawhi wasn't there, da-da-da-da-da. So it's like, it's 2 sides to it that just don't make any sense.
Well, because I think that matters, though.
No, because when Kawhi goes down, they're like, Kawhi's out, KD's cooking. I get it. The defense isn't the same. Okay, cool. But the Suns aren't that great of a defense neither. I'll be honest with you. Like, KD as an isolation defender against someone like Kawhi wouldn't be something that's suitable for him. It just doesn't favor him. Same way as a KD going up against Kawhi on the offensive end wouldn't help and favor KD at all. So when the favor isn't towards you for KD, for some reason people give him slack for that because Kawhi wasn't there. But when Kawhi is playing a defense that's in favor of his offense, people are just praising it. So that to me just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I don't understand that at all.
But then can't you also say that, like, for KD, when Kawhi was playing, a part of why it didn't favor KD is because Kawhi was on the court, right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
No. But like when you're saying that, I think the reason why Kawhi is in these talks regardless is when he's at his best, he gives you that value on both ends of the basketball court, and he's also dropping a efficient 30 to 40 points. Like, that's what he does. When we're seeing Booker be the guy to start do that and not Kevin Durant, and then when Kawhi goes down, then you see KD play better, it's pointing to, he's playing better because Kawhi's not matched up on him because Kawhi is that great. That would be the logic. And like, I think what you're inherently saying is because Kawhi wasn't there to play defense on Kevin Durant and then score on the other end, KD's being elevated. If Kawhi was outplaying Kevin Durant, Kawhi was outplaying him regardless, because that Clippers defense also wasn't his great defense either, right? It was Kawhi floor raising that defense.
Sorry, how many games did Kawhi play in that series?
2.
He played fully in games 1 and 2, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
only two.
So when KD in his first 2 games of that series was averaging 26 points, 7.5 rebounds, 8 assists, shooting 50% from the field, and 93% from the line, 94 if I round up. So he was clearly playing fine, but no one talks about.
That's great, but it wasn't better than Kawhi though.
No, that's fine, right? That's fine. But no one everyone, when I bring up that series, the first thing people say is KD wasn't going up against Kawhi like that, which is fine. But in the first 2 games, he was still playing well.
But you're talking about amplified numbers. Once Kawhi's out, of course, he's going to. It's easier to beat a team without their stars. So.
Yeah, I just don't. The numbers I just bring up are only the first 2 games. And that's when Kawhi was there, right? That's the 27 on 50-90 splits. That's when Kawhi was there, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. When KD is going up against the Clippers and he plays well, people are going to say, or they did say, Kawhi wasn't there. He wasn't there to lock him up, da-da-da-da-da. Even though in the first 2 games when Kawhi was there, he was shooting the ball fine, not from 3, but from the field fine. He was still averaging a high amount of points, distributing the ball well, and rebounding the ball as well. But no one wants to bring that up. That's fine.
What's the main?
But this is.
I'm gonna sound like an asshole, KB, and like I'm definitely down to rewatch this overall series because it was a fun series. But I promise you, for me personally, in the moment, it felt like bro, Kawhi is clearly, without a doubt, the best player on the floor, and KD is not matching what Kawhi is doing on either side of the basketball floor. Right, I understand the numbers.
I think from an offensive perspective, and like I get what you're saying in terms
I
of
don't think it was close offensively either, though. I think he was clearly the best offensive player in both of those games.
It's fine for you to say that you thought he was clearly the best player on the floor. I don't mind that, but my whole point is this: when KD is going up against Kawhi, and even though he's getting outplayed, he's still playing relatively well. 28 on 50% shooting. And 9 rebounds and 8 assists.
He wasn't ass. He wasn't.
No, he was playing to. This is my problem. He's playing to. He's playing to his He's playing to his standard, the standard at which we hold him to. Right? Kawhi is outplaying him, correct? But when we bring up the series and people say, "Oh, KD was the reason why he was playing well is because Kawhi was out," even though he was still playing well relatively when Kawhi was there, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think anyone cares, though.
People give him slander for, like, when I bring up, before the Nuggets series, he was playing fine against the Clippers. Kawhi
I don't think that's a slander, though. I think the slander is Booker was still outplaying.
I'm about to get to the last bit of my point. This is what wraps it up.
Okay.
So when KD is going up against the Clippers, and people give him the slack of Kawhi isn't there, the defense is not the same. Okay, that's fine. But then when Kawhi is going up against the Phoenix Suns, who, mind you, don't have a Mikal Bridges anymore, the POA doesn't look the same. DeAndre Ayton, we know what he is. Their defense is not the same, and we all know this. But we continue to praise what Kawhi was doing from an offensive perspective. So to me, when the matchup is in favor of Kawhi, people are immediately praising him without any question. But then when we look at KD, who I understand what Kawhi wasn't on the floor, but throughout the entire series was playing well, we look at it as a slander because of the fact that Kawhi Leonard wasn't on the floor to clamp him up, or the Clippers didn't have their best defensive piece, which is fair, but then you don't look at it from Kawhi's perspective at all when he's going up against teams that don't, like, in terms of, they don't hinder what he does offensively like that at all. So why do we look at it for Kawhi one way, and then for KD we look at it the other way? That's what I'm saying.
Right. And I think the reason why that is number one is because there was no Paul George. So the offensive load Kawhi had to output to make them competitive was much greater because there was no Paul George playing. And then at the same time, while that was happening, on the other side of the basketball floor, Devin Booker looked like the best Suns player with KD on the floor. And again, I see the numbers and, like, I really want to rewatch it to make sure that I am saying the right thing. But I'm telling you, in the moment, it felt like, damn, KD kind of quiet, because KD is so good of a scorer that sometimes he'll put up like 26, 27, and it might not like be that loud. But Booker on the other end, to me, was their best player in that Clippers series and was also the best player versus the Denver Nuggets. So for most people, they say, okay, I have a 2 playoff series sample size where Durant was not the best player, but then they take that, they inflate that, and then say he was ass. No one is saying KD is trash or whatever.
No, I'm not saying that either.
No. I understand exactly what you're saying. You're not saying that. You're asking about the double standard between Kawhi Leonard. Right. Yeah. Even if you're saying the matchup favors Leonard, the difference is with no Paul George, even if it's a favorable matchup, there's more pressure on him to have to score efficiently and at a high without Paul George. That's why. If Paul George is there, then fine. I get what you're saying. But 100%. Without Paul George, you needed way more production from Kawhi to even be in the game. And not only did he give you that, he gave it to you at a very high efficiency while playing really good defense on the other end.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'm not denying what Kawhi was doing.
And Paul George wasn't there, it wouldn't be. I think the conversation would be a lot different. But you have to take into the context and the specific matchup of Kawhi and KD on the floor in those 2 games. Like, we saw them going up against each other, right? And it was very obvious from, I think, even somebody who maybe doesn't even watch. Like, Kawhi was the best player on the floor by far on both ends of the floor. So I hear you though, and like, of course, people are going to run away with that narrative because people hate KD. But KD was new to that team, and he fit in as well as he could. I just think
that double standard is pretty unfair. I'm not saying y'all are like fading the double standard. I think you guys understand where I'm coming from, but I just don't think that double standard is fair. And that leads me back to my main point, which is, when I'm seeing that happen, and then KD goes up against the Nuggets defense, which, mind you, he should be, in theory, cooking as well, but they did have some defensive pieces like Christian Brown, Bruce Brown, KCP, pesky POAs along with sizable wings like an Aaron Gordon to hinder what he's doing, much similar to like the Warriors as well, with like a Draymond and Kuminga and Wiggins and a Moses Moody and guys who like have the ability to just get up under you. So I completely understand that. But the double standard to me just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Because Kawhi has continuously cooked defenses that he just should be cooking. Like when I'm seeing him cook the Dallas Mavericks, I'm watching him like, damn, this is insane from Kawhi. What he's doing from a shot making standpoint is crazy. But you should be cooking the Nuggets. I mean, not Nuggets, the Mavericks. When I'm watching you fry Rudy Gobert or fry guys like Joe Ingles, I'm like, damn, he is frying these guys. The shot making is insane. But you should be frying them. But the standard at which he's frying them is pretty insane. But you should be frying them. So like when you continuously go up against favorable matchups in early round in the postseason, but then you tend to get injured, I'm like, okay, he looks amazing, but A, he's cooking teams he should be cooking, and B, he's not staying healthy for me to see him do this for a full run. So how much validity am I putting into this constantly, time in and time out? Honestly, how much am I putting into that? And that's what makes me question him being in some of these talks that he's being thrown into when he's at those highs. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not a bad player by any means.
No. I hear that. I just feel like for me, when it comes down to evaluating Kawhi Leonard, to me, he's always been a better postseason player than regular season player. And a lot of that is based on the unfortunate injuries that he's had in these recent years. But the bigger thing is Kawhi Leonard is the prototype guy where I can give you 30 points, 40 points or whatever on very tough shots, very efficient. But I can also lock up your best player on the other end when it mattered. Even in the Dallas series, while Luka was frying everyone on the Clippers because they switched everything so he would get Patrick Beverley, Marcus Morris, or whoever, in the critical games, Kawhi stepped up and guarded Luka and actually, shut him down at the end of those games. So when people think about Kawhi offensively, you're giving me everything that a Kevin Durant can give you from the mid-range, from the free throw. You're also being really physical. And then on the other end, you're also giving me the premium defensively. And there's not that many guys left in the league that can give you both of those premiums at that level like a Kawhi Leonard can. Now, if you're saying, well, he can't keep that up for a run because he hasn't really done that since, I don't know, maybe 2019, I hear that. And that's a valid point. We got to see that. But in my opinion, if we see Kawhi Leonard again this year come out here, do the same thing again, it can't be, he's expected to, because now we're saying he's not that caliber of player. But if he rises to that level yet again, that means maybe he is, but he can't, perform that way for an entire season because of his injuries. That's kind of, where I'm at with it.
Yeah, let's move away from this topic because you both made great points, but like Kate, I don't want to get into Katie. Okay, Nicholas sent us a super chat. Thanks for the super chat. I say this about Jimmy Butler all the time. He lowers the standards. Then when he plays good, everyone goes crazy, but when he plays bad, it's ignored. So kind of the same, along the same lines. KB, what do you think about this one?
I agree. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said this before. The Miami Heat. If you're a fan of the Miami Heat, you're in the best possible NBA spot as a fan. There's no expectations. Yeah. When you lose, no one cares. And when you win, you get to talk the utmost shit possible. And no one can say anything to you because you won. And on top of that, your player on that team, your franchise player, goes into the postseason and rises, so then you get to talk all that shit. But then when you lose, you also say we lost to the better team, we shouldn't be here, then no one can say anything to you. So it's legitimately stress-free basketball as a Miami Heat fan. Stress-free. There's no expectations. You ain't got to worry about nothing. So, like, I agree. And it's kind of nasty, but it is what it is.
Wait, honestly. I don't understand why is it stress-free, KB?
Because you don't have any... If you lose, we shouldn't be here. And if you win, it's great.
But you don't think...
It's underdogs. So that's what it is.
I got you. Okay, I hear you. But you don't think, like... they're held to any standard since they've made, like, every time they've made it to the finals or the Eastern Conference Finals, it's kind of just by chance or by fluke. Like, it was a fluke that they made it.
I don't think it's by fluke by any means. I don't think so. I think there is still like as a team, what Eric Spoelstra does as a coach has been amazing. I think they are really good at maximizing every player in terms of in terms of fit and cohesiveness. I think they're really good at that, but they still don't have the expectation of someone like a Boston Celtics or someone like a Milwaukee Bucks or even someone like a Philly. Like, they don't have those same expectations at all. Like, they get thrown in those talks sometimes, but when people bring up Miami, especially me to start the season, I'm like, Miami. I'm not really gonna take them serious. And they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then then it just happens. Like, the expectation is like not really there for them at all.
I just think it's funny. No, I agree with you. I think most people don't pay too much attention to them until they randomly show up in the Eastern Conference.
Exactly. Like, they're just there. And then people are like, oh, Miami, look, underdogs. Ooh, like, like that's exactly.
But I'm wondering, why are we kind of holding them to that when I think they have a better shot at making the finals than why did I say the Phillies? The Sixers do. The Sixers are a bust at time and time and time again, but the Heat continue to get there and get it done. So why do we hold, the Sixers to a higher standard?
Yeah. So like, okay, here's where I'm at with this, right? I feel like this underdog culture for the Heat is not the Heat's fault. I think it's us looking at the roster every year and saying, they just don't have enough. How are they gonna? And then out of nowhere, Duncan Robinson's cooking Jaylen Brown on ball, and it's like, bro, like how do they keep getting away with this every postseason? And I've kind of reached a point to where I'm just done with they don't have the talent, they can't do X, Y, or Z, because schematically, matchup wise, they have the best coach in the NBA, and they find ways to adjust to whoever they're playing and play them competitive more than you would like. The only time it hasn't gone their way in terms of that is when they got swept by the Bucks in the first round. And that was a series where Jimmy Butler was compromised tremendously.
Right.
Outside of that, they have overexceeded every single year. They've been in the conference finals. They've done what people have expected the 76ers to do year after year after year, with random players that they have had time to develop, guys who are on two-way deals. Caleb Martin literally was a big player for them last year. And a lot of people don't even know that at one point he played for Charlotte, right? Like, these are things that are there for them.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting that, KB, that they basically said, we expect the Sixers to do this. And somebody just said Embiid is a better player than Butler. And of course, I'm not going to dispute that. That would be stupid. But at the same time, and I actually just saw a tweet. I think Embiid had 36 points and 20 of them were free throws. So yeah, sure, Embiid is a better regular season player. Sure, he won MVP, although that's disputed by a lot of people. I feel a lot of people think it should have been Jokic. I'm on the fence. I think he deserved it. But when it comes to the postseason, which is what this game is about, it's about winning. It's about winning at the highest level. Miami's done that far more times than Embiid's ever done, and Embiid has had more to work with. So I just think it's interesting that we kind of keep them, and I do the same thing, like hold them to this underdog, I guess, value. But in reality, I think they're higher value than the Sixers are. Is that crazy?
In terms of postseason play, I guess if you want to say that, that's not really insane. I still think Philly should be the better team. I just think that
they should have been the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, for me, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they've just been really unlucky in terms of matchups, because they somehow always match up with teams that are actually very suited for them in terms of like their offense and how they run things. The defense is always find counters, and then 2, coaching. I just think Doc Rivers being there was absolutely putrid. Shout out to Nick Nurse. I think he's actually unlocked this offense a lot more and a lot faster than whatever the hell Doc was doing in these last couple of years. Yeah, so I think the expectations for Philly now are especially real, but nah, I just can't. Even like, if I see Miami go to the finals 4 times and lose, I still can't take them serious, dog. I don't know what it is. Like, I go into the season and I'm just like, yeah, nah. Like, I'm like, nah. Like, they're cool, yeah. Like, whatever, Miami, whoop-de-whoop, but like, I just don't take them serious.
I hear you, and let's be honest. Like, if we're all gonna be really honest right now, Denver versus Miami was one of the worst finals.
Oh no, it's for sure. I said it game 1.
I
said it game 1. I said it game 1. I said, yeah, I'm happy Jokic is in the finals and he's probably going to win and get a finals MVP. So I'm very pleased with this, so that people can stop like with the Jokic. We need to see it in the postseason, even though he did it like so many different times. So I'm cool with that. But then when I have to watch Bam Adebayo guard him, it's just not fun to watch because he's just getting dominated. When I'm watching Jimmy 100%. Shooting step back jump shots and thinking that he's an amazing jump shooter, and then when I'm watching Caleb Martin actually look like a role player, not an out of body experience like what he was doing in Boston the series prior, it would just like this is very like mediocre basketball from the Heat. This wasn't like a crazy finals to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
That's why I was hoping that, even though it was pretty funny that I found it that the Miami Heat beat the Celtics or whatever, I was hoping the Celtics came back, because I'm like, bro, it's gonna be a lot more competitive if they were to be there. Even though I shit on Tatum a lot sometimes, like, it's still going to be a fun finals because of the fact of the roster construction, and they actually have some counters defensively for the Nuggets, right? And the Celtics on their highs actually look like a very good offense as well. So it was just like, I just don't like seeing them there, but they somehow end up back in every deep postseason run. So it's kind of annoying.
I like seeing them there personally. I feel so like. I feel like
it wants to be different, chat. I realize this, man.
I feel like if Boston made it, it would not have been much different because of all the guys
really
they had.
Does Boston win in that?
You think they still lose in 5?
Denver still win?
I think Denver still wins. I think
Denver still wins regardless of who they play. Maybe if it was Milwaukee differently, but like, nah. I think it would have been it would have been a competitive 6.
I say it wouldn't have been 6 games based on the personnel that was banged up from the Heat series going to the finals. They would have missed a lot of key guys. Rob Will wasn't there. Like, that would not have been more competitive. You would have had basically Jason Tatum on one leg. You wouldn't have Al Horford. I think he got hurt. Like, bro, so many players got banged
with
up.
That like cut up hand too. So they would have not been versus the Nuggets, who were pretty much healthy the entire season somehow. So I agree with you, and honestly, I'm glad Boston lost, and I hope they lose again. Okay, we've got some headlines, and then we'll spend the last maybe 20 minutes having a few of you guys on if you want to talk about the Warriors, what you like, what you dislike, and any predictions you guys have. But a few headlines, one from the Lakers for you, KB. Just curious on this, but Austin Reeves on Anthony Davis, he said, everybody's quick to murder AD when he has an off night. He's affecting the game more than what the average human is picking up on. So I just wanted to know what you guys think of AD so far this season. I know he's been inconsistent, but do you think people are too hard on him? And overall, the Lakers have struggled a bit this season. So what can we expect from AD throughout the season?
So yeah, as a avid Laker watcher myself, I think look at this nigga gifted, bro.
Yeah, we know.
Listen, I watch many different teams play, guys, but I watch the Lakers a lot as well. But I could admittedly saying that without being a fan. But listen, I think AD primarily when healthy has been great this season. I think he's still, that mid range is still questionable. Him as a finisher is still really good. He's still a good roller. His touch is still there in terms of like 6 to 8 feet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still there. The mid range is kind of cooked, though. It's been inconsistent. Defensively, he's still been by far the best defensive player in the world, in my opinion, when healthy. Not even when he's like 80%.
But I just want to ask really quick.
No, sir.
When you say win healthy, that's like 4 games.
Who do you think's been a better defender than AD this year? If you say the name,
Bam and Gobert been better than him on defense. I'll stand on that.
Consistency matters, KB. You can't say win healthy.
Bam and Gobert been better defenders than Anthony Davis this year.
Stop.
I'm gonna stand on that.
Mm-hmm. I'm confused on Bam. I don't know why Gobert has been a better defender than saying Gobert has been a better defender.
Are you not watching basketball at all?
I've watched the Timberwolves play basketball. I don't think you do. I think Gobert is elite. But then when I'm watching AD still hinder a lot of great offensive teams and a lot of a lot of coverages, because AD has a lot more defensive responsibility than someone like a Gobert, than someone like a Bam, and it's clearly a lot more defensive responsibility. And he's still putting up better production than some of these guys that he's naming as well. His ability to show, his ability to play the gaps, the ability to block shots, the ability to actually like consistency.
Defensive production? Are we serious?
Yes, when AD is on the floor with the Lakers, they're still one of the better defensive teams in the league.
No, listen, I'm not saying AD isn't a great defender. I'm not saying that.
I know you're not saying that, but I think he's been the best defender in the world.
In terms of production, what Bam and Rudy Gobert have done, they've been clearly the 2 best defenders in the sport this year. If you want to throw AD somewhere in that conversation, fine.
I think AD is still the best defensive player in the sport. I don't understand.
Maybe can I just ask you
based on what I've seen this season? I do not. I think he's absolutely is at that level. He does. I'm not going to say. I can't.
What he's produced, no. That's not. I find it really disingenuous. So I can't sit here and gas. Look at the numbers. Hold on. I'm not sitting here and going to continue to gas what Gobert is doing in terms of a defensive production. Even though he's been playing elite, when he has the likes of Ant, J-Mac, and actual like Nas Reed, capable defenders who are able to hinder a lot of the problems that he might get exposed with early on in the season as well. When AD has to deal with a D'Lo POA, no Vando, and then Rui not being able to get consistent minutes, while also Reeves is playing horrific defense, LeBron can be unserious at times. He's been countlessly backpacking the Lakers defense time in and time out.
Okay.
And you're going to see when Vando actually comes back and he's actually able to play with a competent secondary option, you're going to see how clearly a better defender AD is versus Bam, because everything that you're saying in terms of Bam's level of production, AD is legitimately better than him at switching.
I really think you just have not been watching Bam this year.
Bam and AD comparison right now.
I just
That's
don't
what I want
see
to
it.
hear. What the numbers are, because that's going to speak a lot louder than maybe.
Bro, hasn't Bam been like the best isolation defender in points per possession this year?
I literally just said other than switching and guarding one coverages, I think Bam has been better.
But Bam's also been a very good rim protector as well. So what's your argument?
Who's a better rim protector?
Bro, I'm asking you.
Who is a better rim protector?
This season, I think it's been Bam.
Okay, I can't. We're not having this conversation then.
Then you're not watching the Heat. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think that's just true. I don't think that's true at all.
Bro,
Bam is not a better rim protector than AD. That's just not true.
Okay. I believe what Bam has produced as a individual defensive player in terms of rim protecting, in terms of switching, in terms of his production when he's on or off, has been a better defender than Bam. If you want to say AD's a better rim protector, then fine. But by the numbers, Bam has been up there as rim protector too.
I think AD's the clear better shot blocker and rim protector. I think AD's obviously the better roamer. I think Bam is the better switch player. I think in terms of being versatile, they both bring that capability of being a versatile defender. But AD has shown you the ability to switch out sometimes. I'm not saying to the level of Bam at all. I agree. Bam is clearly up there in terms of switchability. You could argue the best switchable big right now in the association, and that's fine. I don't care. Okay. AD has shown the ability to be up there in terms of switching out as well. He's shown. Well, we watch him switch out against Steph. We literally watch him switch out against Steph last season as well.
Bro, I'm talking about.
I'm talking about in a grand scheme of things.
I'm not though. I'm talking about the games we watched this season. I'm not talking about overall. Even if you want to talk about
this season, I still seen him switch out against some of the guards and be able to hinder their offensive capabilities as well. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, okay, I'm watching AD do this. Bam is doing it at a much higher rate, so that's amazing. But then AD is still providing more rim protection, more shot blocking ability. The roaming is better. And he's playing the gaps better while also not having his actual other pieces to be able to maximize him defensively as well is very important. So yes, I'm going to say AD is the best defensive player in the NBA. I'm definitely going to say
that's fine. I don't believe he is. I think it's been Bam and I think it's been Rudy Gobert. AD's in that conversation. He's for sure the third for me. That's not hard. But I think what Bam and Rudy Gobert produced for their teams as defensive players by impact and how they have played, I think they have been in that conversation. Bam has been one of the fewest guys to lead the league again.
Stop. Sorry, Gifted. You're making a great point. Brandon, that's literally what I just said. I don't know where I just said if AD had competent pieces around him, did I not just say that? Gifted?
So Bam has a bunch of competent pieces around him right now?
I'm not saying Bam is fully maximized, but his second best defender is Jimmy.
Okay.
Wait, stop. His second best defender is. Can you listen for 1 second? His second best defender is Jimmy, who is a competent defender. I don't think he's been showing the defensive capabilities that
now we're going to call him a competent defender when earlier. You're muted.
My mic plugged out. My bad. It's getting a little passionate. It's getting a little passionate. But we call Jimmy. I'm saying Jimmy's a competent defender, meaning that at his worst, he's a neutral. At his worst, that's what I'm saying, right? He's definitely a clear positive though when he's playing, when he's locked in. Bam as well as Eric Spoelstra. Shout out to Eric for actually running the correct schemes for Bam to be able to maximize him in terms of being the defender that he is. I don't want to sit here and be like Bam is only doing this because of this and this and this and because of other guys. That's going to sound nasty because I'm not going to take away from Bam's capabilities. Bam has for sure been elite this season in terms of being a defender. But when you are utilized correctly, this also just magnifies what you do to another level, right? We can all agree on that. And when I'm watching AD compose of lineups where he has to play with like a bunch of guards and they can't switch out, they can't fight over screens, their off-ball ability is bad.
Rated R, I'm sending you the link really quick if you want to come on, just for Rated R. Go ahead, KB, sorry.
That's okay. Even when Darvin Ham is putting up these lineups that are like terrible lineups. I'm watching him putting up with like Reeves, D'Lo, and man, I don't even. Oh my god, the lineups are insane, like terrible, and he's covering so much ground, and they're still able to get enough stops. It's insane to me. So I'm thinking to myself, man, if this guy had a Vando back and actually utilizing correct lineups where he's maximized properly, he would look a lot better.
Why?
So
better. My issue with this conversation is this won't go anywhere because what you're doing is you're thinking about who AD is as a player, if he's maximized in different slots. I'm not doing any of that. I'm talking about what they've produced on the court, the games that they've played, how they've looked. Bottom line, I don't
understand how it's been. I don't understand how Bam is a better defender than AD.
Okay, that's fine.
When AD is a way better rim protector, way better roamer. He's like one of the few players that can literally guard the pick and roll ball handler and the pick and roll roll man at the same time, and still handle their whole offense as well. Not only that, bro, AD is a way better shot blocker. What are we doing here, bro? AD has no defensive help. He don't have no POA defender. He has to cover for every backline shit that the Lakers do offer and provide. What we talking about here, bro? He's a better defender. We've seen Anthony Davis in the second half of the season with the Lakers anchors the top defensive unit in the NBA, bro. And we've seen that against the playoffs.
None of that matters. None of that matters for this season. None of that matters.
Where his rim protection against the Grizzlies, his rim protection against the Lakers were very, very valuable in that series. And you can sit there and make an argument that that's why the Lakers win those series, bro. He's a way better defender. What are we doing here?
None of that matters at all.
Like, it's actually insane, bro. With all the games with all of the games that they missed, with all the games AD has missed, the Miami Heat are the 8th best defense in the league. The Lakers are the 9th. With him missing these games, like I don't understand how y'all cannot watch here and see the impact this guy has on this team with how minimal the roster is.
You just said you don't like watching the Heat. I don't understand what you want me to do. Again,
doesn't mean I don't upkeep with what Bam is doing. Just because I don't like watch, I'm still gonna watch it.
This is not an overall conversation, and you don't watch the Heat basketball, bro.
Stop.
Be real.
I just watched them play Brooklyn the other night, bro. Stop.
How many games did you watch this year? Be real with yourself. Not more than 4.
Like I'd actually say 4. I'm not
so you
okay, sister, what are we doing?
Hold on, let me ask you something. So
you can still like watch and upkeep with a team. Like I'm not gonna sit here and watch every single game. Like you have to watch every single game of every team to make a proper evaluation. No, you don't. You don't have to. Like I don't.
Yes, you do. KB,
every single game. No, you don't. You can watch a portion of game. That'd be insane to me. You guys think I'm watching every single game of every single team possible when I'm making an evaluation? No, I'm not.
I just think for you to like sharply react to me saying Bam and Gobert have been better defenders. Again, this is not me saying it's by some like dramatic gap. AD's been a great defender this season. I think they've been better. And you're like, what? How could you? Yeah. They've been playing that good defensively.
I don't understand why you say Rudy Gobert is better than Bam. I mean, AD. When Rudy Gobert is literally one of the worst, like, perimeter, like, defenders, like, from a center perspective in the NBA, bro. You know what I'm saying? AD is way better on ball. He's way better switching out. His switchability and his versatility, like, roaming off defenders or shooters as well is really, really elite. Even though you can say Rudy Gobert is a better rim protector, like AD versatility, like being a way better pick and roll defender and guarding a pick and roll man and the ball handler. Like, bro, AD's defensive run last year solidified him as being the best defender in the
NBA. That doesn't matter, though. That doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care about that. His defensive run in the playoffs, bro. I don't care about that.
It's something that's haven't just been talked about enough, bro, because, the Lakers lost in the Western Conference Finals.
Why does that matter to this conversation if we're not talking about it
because
right now?
You're making an evaluation off of how many games been played off this season?
No, okay, listen. Maybe you're not understanding
what AD's been doing consistently.
Maybe you're not understanding the question, right? I'm not saying overall Bam and Gobert are better defenders than Anthony Davis. I'm saying for the 12 or 13 games I've seen this season, I believe that Bam and Gobert have been better defenders. Now let's address some of your points. Because again, I don't even disagree with you. Anthony Davis is a very good defender in the ways that you have highlighted that. You spin on that. That is facts. I agree with that. He does not have the defensive pieces to maximize him. That is 100% truth. But based on how you view basketball, which for many people is different, it comes down to versatility versus structurally, what do you do as a defender? When Rudy Gobert was in Utah, producing what he was doing for that team that did not have the defensive help, he was playing at a very high level defensively. What Rudy Gobert has done this season is pretty much that, if not better, because now he has better defenders structurally on his team. Now, if you want to say, well, I think AD's managing a higher load right now because there's guys out who are not the defensively, then fine, but that conversation won't go anywhere. For me, based off how I've seen them play basketball, I think Rudy Gobert has impacted the game defensively just as well as Anthony Davis has, if not more. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right. Let me say this right quick. I'm gonna have to go out and watch some more football. When I look at I'm glad you mentioned Rudy Gobert with the Utah Jazz. We can all agree that Utah Jazz didn't really have good perimeter defenders over there, but I still see Rudy Gobert, when he asked to do more of the low, still get exposed in a playoff setting, especially when teams go small and force Rudy Gobert out the paint. The value was not there. When we seen Anthony Davis without his two main best perimeter point of attack defenders, he's still not able to get exploited like Rudy Gobert did, especially without any good POA defenders. Anthony Davis, even without good POA defenders, is still able to have the value on ball on the perimeter, switching out onto defenders, roaming, and ability to guard the pick and roll at an elite level and still be able to rim protect at a high level, bro. So when you break all of that down, that's why Anthony Davis is a better defender than Rudy Gobert.
Okay, so then quickly rebuttaling to that point, in the playoffs, the reason why the Jazz defense often fell apart is they had much weaker links at the point of attack. And for Rudy Gobert, Quinn Snyder said you have to make a decision. The most efficient shot in the NBA is the paint shot. So when Gobert would take away the paint, the guards would not rotate, and they would be giving up wide open threes pretty much every single time. But then, this is where he did do that. Donovan Mitchell was getting blown by. Jordan Clarkson was getting blown by. That's who they had. They had Jordan Clarkson and Mitchell on the court for heavy minutes at the same time. But again, this argument about defense, again, we're taking this to a whole other area. I don't care about playoffs. Playoffs is not factoring in my shit at all because functionally, I think Anthony Davis is a better defender overall than Rudy Gobert. But in terms of what they're producing right now in the regular season, what Rudy Gobert has done, what Bam Adebayo has done, again, I think they have produced just as good as Anthony Davis defensively, if not more. If you say AD's better, fine. But this notion that it's crazy to say that he's not the best defender right now, I think it's asinine based on what they've done for their teams. I really don't understand that.
Yeah, but Rudy Gobert has great defensive pieces around his team. That's why.
But when he didn't have defensive pieces, the argument was then,
and he got exposed in the playoffs. He got exposed in the playoffs against the Clippers when they went.
Did he get exposed, or did the Jazz weak roster construction with defenders get exposed?
So we didn't see Rudy Gobert perimeter defense literally get cooked against the Clippers, where Terrence Mann was taking him off the dribble, dunking around his face and stuff like that. The roaming, the switching was just not an impact against the Clippers. Routinely.
He had 40 points for the Clippers in that game, right? How many of those points came from wide open catch and shoots in the corner because Gobert's in the paint? How many?
Yeah, but if Rudy Gobert was in the perimeter, do you think his ability
why do you want your rim protector on the perimeter when his role is to rim protect? Why do you want that?
We asked Anthony Davis. See, I've seen Anthony Davis this season when Kawhi Leonard was cooking the goddamn Lakers in the first half of the goddamn game. I've seen Darvin Ham literally make the switch to say, you know what? Let me put Anthony Davis on Kawhi Leonard, who was cooking us, and let's use his length in his ability to stay in front of Kawhi, put length around him. Let's do that to neutralize him, and it did a really, really good job, bro. So, like I said there and said, not only that, blocking, switching, like all of that, Anthony Davis have that in his capability. Like they're really, really outside of like defending smaller guards, shoot your guards, which I think every the big man or center struggles to stay in front of. There's really ain't no flaws Anthony Davis on defensively, bro. It's not just health.
Oh, by the way, sidebar, Brandon is really funny as hell to me because when Gobert was on the Jazz, again,
I'm late for Brandon because he's saying
no, I don't care. I don't care about that. When Gobert was on the Jazz, again, people say Gobert got exposed. Gobert did not get exposed. The weak roster construction that he was carrying for an entire season defensively to where they were a top 5 defense gets exposed when you have, we have Jordan Clarkson. We have Donovan Mitchell. Let's go at these guys consistently and make Gobert have to make a decision. Do I guard the 3? Do I guard the paint? And why do people want him to come out? Because they don't want Donovan Mitchell to guard. They don't want Jordan Clarkson to guard. They don't want some of those other smaller players on that team to actually guard. When Gobert is functionally in the paint, he is single-handedly stifling defenses. You want to know how I know? Because even this season, when we played them twice back-to-back, the plays Rudy Gobert was making in the paint kept the ball away from that situation. But people are crowning Anthony Davis as the best based off what he did in the playoffs. That's fine. But for me, I don't care about that. That wasn't the question. The question wasn't who's the better defender overall. The question has been, who do you think is a best defender right now in the current season? I think Bam has been better. I think Rudy has been better. That's me. If you don't agree with that, that's fine. It's close. But to act like it's not close is crazy. To act like AD is clearing any of them defensively just shows me you're not watching their teams play basketball.
Overall, Anthony Davis is better.
That's fine. This is
if you want to say right now, then that's
conversation.
Like, I thought it was like more overall. Like that's how
it's not. It's not. It's not overall. No.
Even right now, I still think AD's the better defender. But
yeah, that's fine. But again, when I said that Rudy and Bam were better defenders, you acted like, oh my god, you said that. Oh my god.
I'm not even mad at.
You sounded that mad.
I'm not even mad at Bam. I was more reactive to Rudy than Bam. But
yeah, Rudy.
And there's no reason why it should be that way.
Wait, hold on.
Rudy
cannot guard.
Are you serious?
Rudy cannot guard anywhere outside of the paint. Like Gifted Hoops, when you talk about,
I think you're really undervaluing what he's done in the paint this year. By the way,
Utah was the #1 defense in the NBA in the regular season. So sure, Bogdanovich, some of Utah's players like Clarkson are not good perimeter defenders, but the problem Gobert has in the playoffs every year is he cannot guard on the perimeter. The best offenses in the league are small, fast, with good shooting. They're teams like the Clippers and Houston when they were in the West 3-4 years ago. But the other thing is Gobert can't move very quickly, even going backwards. So what Houston did, and Houston did this multiple years against Gobert, they just put him in pick and rolls with Harden and Capella, and they threw the ball over his head. Capella dunked on him like a bitch for 2 years.
Okay. So now that you said that, let's talk about this, right? So what kills me about this conversation, he can't guard anyone. Why were the Jazz a #1 defense with that weak personnel during the regular season? Can you answer that question?
Because Gobert is an elite rim protector. So if a team is not a good shooting team, then Gobert is going to completely.
So every team they played in the modern era was not a good shooting team?
I'm answering your question. What I'm saying is that in the playoffs, you play the best offenses in the NBA normally.
I'm asking about regular season.
Let me finish. The best offenses.
I want you to be on point here. Okay.
Hey, let me finish. The best
then answer my question, not your question. Answer my question.
Answering your question. Let me finish.
Okay.
The best offenses in the NBA are small, fast, with good shooting on the perimeter. Those are the offenses that cook Gobert. So Gobert looks very good defensively in the regular season because most of the teams in the NBA, especially 3-4 years ago, they weren't that great at 3-point shooting.
So really? So your argument is the reason why the Jazz wait, guys. His argument right now is basically, well, we know that some of these teams weren't good 3-point shooting teams. We're talking about a Jazz team that was the #1 seed in the NBA. They had the most wins at a certain point of any team in either conference, not in the East, which I can more so understand because of their weak offensive play.
But a lot
in the Western Conference. No. But you cannot go from saying weaker 3-point shooting when, again, the West for years, and KB can attest, regardless of who he's with, in the Western Conference has been super duper competitive for many different years with teams that actually can space and can shoot. But Gobert, when he was officially on that team, carried that team to the #1 defense. But when they got to the playoffs, I said defensively. You got to keep up and listen. You got to keep. No, I said carry defensively. Once again, when you come up here, you don't listen to what people say, and we can clip it because that's not an issue. I did not. I said carry defensively. You don't listen. Your ears are not open to listen. No, you have a question to answer something.
I'll mute you.
You gotta listen.
And vice versa. Defensively. Name one. No, name 1 year Gobert was good defensively in the playoffs. Name one.
Oh my goodness! Name one. Really,
year.
really. Are you telling me Gobert wasn't good defensively in the playoffs? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no point in having this conversation. I'm not gonna have a conversation with a person who doesn't think Gobert was good. No, I'm not gonna entertain stupidity. I'm not gonna entertain stupidity. If you cannot objectively look at the Jazz roster and see that they had clear defense limitations coming in, then that's an issue. To say that Gobert was never good defensively in the playoffs is very dumb. Literally last year in the playoffs, Rudy Gobert was a marvel defensively. He was one of the better defenders on Nikola Jokic last year that went on a 2023 run. So to act like Gobert has never been good defensively in the playoffs is pretty stupid. But you can have that opinion. That's perfectly fine. I don't care about that.
You guys can't be on the same panel without.
Nah, you gotta let the
hold on.
Let's don't listen. So, Gifted, you have to be respectful to him, and that mutual respect needs to be given back. And I know it's difficult because he doesn't.
It's just no point in conversation if I'm gonna get wrong.
Gifted cut them off though. Like he ain't let him get his point off though.
I didn't realize
because when he
did, but you didn't stop talking, and it was disrespectful.
Because when he has been up here, what often happens is we call him out on some bullshit that he said. He says, "I never said it." I literally said carry them defensively.
He asked you a question. They weren't here that Rudy Gobert was the elite defensively.
Why do I have to entertain stupidity though? Obviously, he's been good in the playoffs.
And like especially
I don't have to give you a year. I don't have to give you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's pretty obvious he was pretty good last year against.
That's dumb. That's very.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that's what you could have told him that.
No, but you could have just said against the Nuggets against it. I'm not gonna.
But listen. Here's my thing. When I'm debating with the person that is clearly biased and is going to be saying stupid shit like that, why do I have to entertain bullshit though? Why can't we have an honest conversation about basketball instead of saying, "Oh, well, flashily Gobert can't move and do this and that," when his clear skill is deterring shots in the paint. And we have a roster construction of guys that cannot guard on the perimeter and cannot support him in any way defensively, where Gobert is literally pointing to a spot in the zone where Jordan Clarkson has to go. He doesn't. And then ball movement and Batum, it's an open three. That stuff happens. But we're saying Gobert can't guard on his feet defensively. I think it's very stupid. But that's just me.
Yeah, I just want to say something really quick. Ken, when I sent the link, I said rated R and Brandon were the ones welcome to come on. You would not stop coming in. So, and Hyman, I don't know who you are, but you can chill out because we can't have a good show if people are continually talking over each other. And also we've had issues with Brandon. Brandon, you were great today, so I'm not trying to put you down, but like you and Gifted, we got to have you guys on earlier because we're about to run out of the show. So you guys can all talk and say what you want.
I'm not gonna lie.
I really don't care. And you guys were
interrupting
interrupting each other. And so we can't have we just can't have a good show when people are talking over each other. And some people don't respect that. I know. So sorry about that, Gifted. Sorry about that, Brandon. But
all right, man. Salute, man. I'm gonna head up.
I'm gonna chat. I'm gonna let y'all know if two people are arguing back and forth about takes and what they standing on. Stand on business. Go ahead. Argue.
You just withdraw.
No, but
you were just withdrawing. And last time we did this, you were upset about it.
No. Yeah, for sure. I'm saying, but like, I don't mind. I don't. So that's no. But listen. Hear me out.
Now you're switching up.
When it gets to a point, then yeah, for sure, there's gonna have to be some like, all right, guys, we need to hear each other first.
But that was not occurring. So I don't.
Yeah, so that's fair. That's fair. I'm saying though, like,
switching up so much right now.
Hey man,
you almost cried
when it's not me, I don't mind it. No,
but now you want me to chill out on that? No, I'm not going to. So I, honestly, like, I we'll just do it earlier next time because Brandon, like, you guys are very opinionated, but yeah, don't switch up on me, KB. Don't switch up.
That's funny.
Oh, listen, I'm not switching up. I stand on regular conversations for sure. But when it gets chippy and it's getting to that point, but they're able to have a conversation, I'm cool with that.
I just want to point out, the funny part is the reason why all this started is because I said Rudy Gobert and Bam were better. And if y'all could have seen the face KB made when I said that, like that was a crazy take. It's not a crazy take. You can disagree. It's not. It's not at all. And if you think that, again, you're just not watching basketball.
No. That's fine. They're just not better defenders than AD. I'm just sorry.
Because you were going like 4 against 1. Yeah. So shout out to you. You're cooking.
And I'm fine with that because I believe that based on what I've seen. I don't see how.
Crazy. I said my piece. I like Gifted Cook.
Yeah, you did.
Like my issue is less about who you think is better. That's fine. Like that's super subjective based on roster construction. Who's not playing? Who is? But to act like it's crazy to say Rudy Gobert or Bam have been the best defender so far makes no logical sense to me when he's absolutely produced at the level. KB, you literally saw us play them. You literally saw what Rudy Gobert in the paint was taken away from our team and made our offense even worse. And you're acting like saying Rudy Gobert being a better defender than AD this season is crazy. I really don't understand that.
I've also watched I almost said Luka. My God,
I almost said Luka. Jesus Christ.
I watched AD do that same thing while also hindering their perimeter play as well. So that's just I guess, man. If you want the Frenchman to be if you like
versatility, fine. But like, I really hate when people try to act like versatility makes you automatically better. Like that's fine. You can do both, sure. But Rudy Gobert specializing.
AD's a very good rim protector as well. You could say Rudy Gobert's the better one. That's fine. But if AD's a very good rim protector while still being a better roamer, a better versatile switcher big, and being able to cover a lot more on the ground as well, then that versatility is obviously going to make you a better defender.
That's fine, but when your defense in the paint,
that's the same reason why you're putting Bam in those conversations, because of his versatility.
Yes, but what Rudy Gobert's defense in the paint has been, because he specializes in that, and he's had most of his strengths in that role, and he hasn't been like terrible on the other ends, but specializing in that specifically has made the Wolves as good as they've been defensively when adding Anthony Edwards, when adding AJ McDaniels in their proper roles to the perimeter. Rudy Gobert is looking more like he was on the Jazz, and that player was 100% a defensive player of the year caliber player, and people said the same shit about that player. See, look, you're saying I guess. It's not I guess. He was, and he deserved it. But to act like he doesn't deserve it.
You telling me those years that Draymond was that? I don't know if he won it over Jim. Anyways, I get what you're trying to say, but at the same time, bro. No, I value rim protection for sure, but when I'm watching AD not having to, because he's talking about Rudy Gobert being specialized here, and the pieces around him are finally working so that he doesn't get hindered a lot. But that same love is not being shown for AD, because AD specializes in roaming. I'm seeing him have to switch, play the paint, cover the ground, and he's still anchoring a top 10 defense in our league. I think it's 6 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So like the guy, and he's been in and out of the lineup too as well, while also not being 100% healthy. So I'm taking all this into an account, just like how when Rudy Gobert, I was defending Gobert to a certain extent. I'm like, damn, Rudy Gobert's getting shitted on, but like he's not having the proper pieces to maximize him defensively. Now when he's maximized it in these talks, and I don't mind him being in these talks. I just think AD is the better defender because he's proven to still be floor raising and covering more as a floor raiser, and even at his ceiling, still covering more. So I'm not going to sit here and deny that from AD. AD had just been so like, man.
I don't think that's bad logic. I'm just saying for you to act like it's crazy for someone to think Gobert has been better is asinine to me. You can think AD's better. That's fine. But to act like Rudy Gobert hasn't been that caliber of defensive player
never said he wasn't.
Is weird. No, but your reaction to everything was of that. Was it not, Haley?
My reaction was like that, but I just don't, because I don't think he's on the same level as AD as a defender.
Yeah, I think KB thinks.
But I think he's a great player though. I think he's a great defender.
Would agree. Yeah.
But
I don't hate it. I like the hot take from you, Gifted, but I probably lean.
I don't even think that's a hot take. It should not even be a hot take to say that.
I looked at the numbers, so I really don't have any opinion on this.
It's not a hot take.
Yeah, you guys in the chat, let us know. Drop your final thoughts. Who are you agreeing with this one? And Brandon, again, sorry about it. It was getting to a hectic. I don't want to deal with it. So
listen. I'm sorry. I don't have any problem with Brandon or anyone else that came up. I just don't like when I'm saying a point, I get misquoted. You're saying a bunch of bullshit. When I give you a rebuttal point about their perimeter defenders and you still put that on Gobert, what are we talking about at that point?
No, for sure. I think listening has to be. I told y'all today, the main goal is that if you don't know something, chat, just say I don't know.
Admit it.
Like you can clearly admit it. It's okay. And listen, guys. When people are making arguments, listen, bro. Brandon, you heard me say some points and you completely misheard me thinking that I was saying AD is being maximized properly when I didn't say that. So you guys gotta listen to what people are saying. And when you do, then you have a better understanding, man. But that's the name of the game today, y'all. Make sure y'all listen and say I don't know when you don't know things. So yeah.
Shout out. Absolutely. 100% agree. And chat, I always find it funny when you guys talk. But when it comes time to bring you up, that's one thing I do respect Brandon for. He talks the talk, but he'll walk the walk. He'll come up and he'll say something. Most of you guys won't do that. So just keep that in mind and say you don't know when you don't know, right? Okay, you guys, that was good. Any other thoughts? Any last thoughts before we head into this next week? Do you want to, are you guys doing spaces this week or anything you want to shout out? Go ahead.
Yeah, so me and KB are continuing our watch parties of the Golden State games. We're going to be alternating between my channel and his. So if you want to watch this game live with us, do that. Also on the Twitter Spaces thing, we host post-game rooms on Twitter where we actually talk about the details of the game for what we've seen. You can catch us there. Playback.tv/giftedhoops for KB. I'm pretty sure it's playback.tv/KB knows ball, right?
No, I think it's still Dub Spaces from when you switched it. But,
okay, word.
Yeah, I think it's playback.tv/Dub Spaces, or just look up KB knows ball or KB's room. It's one of those two. Yeah, y'all can find me on YouTube as well. I'm dropping a video this week on Hallie. So yeah, expect that as well. But yeah, catch me on Playback and YouTube, and obviously here. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, chat. I be tuning into the post game spaces with Gifted a lot, but I'm not there all the time because of just schedule constraints. So you might not like me being there is not going to be as frequent as you may think.
I need Haley in these shits.
Definitely.
I came once and it was really fun. I'm just nervous. Like I don't really know.
It's the same thing as YouTube. I'll be so honest with you. It's the same thing.
It is the same thing as YouTube.
It's literally the same thing as YouTube.
You guys, lately it's been really. I will jump off after this, but it's been really tough because like every game I literally turn the game off in the third quarter because I can't handle.
Yeah, I feel you on that. That's what I've been doing too.
I have to walk away.
I can't. I'll be honest with you, chat. I can't watch.
I'm sorry, KB. You cannot take this. Tank just said in the chat, KB and low playback more than his own. That's a crazy allegation.
I host playbacks like 3-4 times a week. That's not true. Shout out Lodo. That's my guy. Of course I'm gonna be in there talking hoops with my nigga. But I guess.
All right, you guys. That's crazy. KB.
And Tank would have to be in mine and Lowe's for him to know that. So appreciate the support, Tank. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, shout out Low.
I see him everywhere, by the way.
We're going to jump off. We're running a little late. Make sure to stay tuned for the next show. It's going to be great. And thank you, all of you guys in the chat, even the trolls. We love you guys. All right. We'll see you next week.